little bit of Canadian content, CanCon for short, as we begin this All Request Friday Giving Songs edition, because this week was Giving Tuesday, and that is some Bachman Turner Overdrive and Gimme Your Money Please, which I think, especially with the please added on the end, was exactly what local charities were asking earlier this week on Giving Tuesday. Could you give us some of your money, please? And I hope you were able to do that in the midst of all of the holiday spending. I cannot wait to hear, because I don't even know in advance what songs you have chosen for this All Request Friday Giving Songs edition. I just get to hear them when you hear them as we play your favorites through the day. The theme today, Giving Songs. I'm not sure if we have a spot or two left, but if you want to try, you can always email mike@570news.com or give Jen a call. She's operating the board on the other side of the glass today. Let her know what song you would like to hear on this All Request Friday Giving Songs edition. And welcome to the show. Thank you very much for being here. I tell you what, I am running around here so ding-dang fast today. I only wish I had longer legs so I could get from place to place a little more quickly. We are hustling. We've got a show for you today. I'm remembering my old boss, busy show for busy people, busy show for busy people. I wonder if, because we just played a song, do you want to hear another song? It's not really a song, but one of my coworkers, and I think I know who it is, because he's got a strange sense of humor, this boy. And he dropped off again this year in the studio, the Christmas Pickle. Here you go. I'm going to see if I get this close enough to the microphone that you can hear the Christmas Pickle song.
I am the Christmas Pickle. I play pickleball every day. Back and forth and away we go. It's tons of fun, don't you know? Be fast, be swift.
Okay, I don't think we need to hear any more of that. But there he was in my studio. Hey, quiet, Christmas Pickle. He's going to keep singing and dancing. I posted the video of the Christmas Pickle to our Facebook page. Here's still... Yeah, he wants to play pickleball. It's a Christmas Pickle. Listen, I'm a good German boy. I like the Christmas Pickle. I don't enjoy pickles per se. And then today, I don't even know what to call this. The Santa dog? Wait, dashing through the snow, says my coworker. And he sings too. I don't know what's going on around here. But you can see the videos on our Facebook page, facebook.com/The Mike Farwell Show. I'm just going to leave him dancing there on the desk. I tried it earlier and he fell off the desk because he doesn't really understand parameters, this wobbling Santa dog in the studio. I know you didn't request those songs, but I thought I'd share them with you. And I will encourage you to just check out our Facebook page, facebook.com/The Mike Farwell Show. You too can enjoy the Christmas Pickle and the dancing dog, because that's the content you come to this show for, right? Let's get to the phones. Phone lines open the minute we begin the show every day. And Gary, Farwell's Force member number 41, is with us right now. Hello, Gary.
Hello. Good morning, Mike. How are you?
Did you like the pickle song or the dog song? No, they were terrible. I know. Just be honest with me. Don't sugarcoat anything.
I've heard worse, but yeah, I would give it probably a 2 out of 10. I don't know. It was, it was interesting to hear. But man, like, can it be any cold? Like, I think this is a little too early for it to be this cold, Mike.
It's way too cold. I agree.
I honestly, I could go for 1 or 2 mosquito bites out at the trailer right about now. I'm telling you.
You're darn right.
Yeah, right. But anyway, Mike, have a great show. I'm going to look forward to listening to it when I can. And happy Friday, and hope you have a wonderful, safe weekend. And we'll talk to you again real soon.
All right, Gary. I appreciate that. A nice note to start the day on. Basically, I think Gary called to say, is it cold enough for you? The answer to that is, of course, yes. Dallas is also on the line with us this morning. Hello, Dallas.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Well, it is cold enough for me. I'll tell you that.
You'll freeze your jingle balls off out there today.
Yeah, Brass Monkey Memorial Award. I just wanted to call in and say, well, our East Avenue Blue are doing pretty good. We're back on top in the division. And I don't know. I haven't talked to you for a little while. Your little jingle there, well, I don't know about that.
Yeah, it's just terrible, Dallas. You can be honest with me.
Well, I try.
All right. Well, that's all I ask. We like some transparency on this show, and we want to be accountable. So we'll give us the straight goods every time. It's always the unvarnished truth here on the show. Speaking of those East Avenue Blue, the Kitchener Rangers, home tonight, game day, baby, to the Peterborough Petes. Josh Piercy and I will be on the air with the Harris Law pregame show at 6:30 from the Memorial Auditorium. And then on Sunday, oh yeah, we are going to Guelph. And there is so much drama associated with this game coming up in Guelph on Sunday because these teams have not met since the Memorial Cup was announced. The winning bid going to Guelph, not coming to Kitchener. And so the teams will play against each other on the ice, while off the ice, the drama continues to unfold. There was a conflict of interest present on that Memorial Cup selection committee. A member of that committee was in the midst of negotiating a deal with Sleeman Breweries, a multi-million-dollar deal for Hockey Canada. And he still sat on the selection committee to determine which city should host the Memorial Cup, Guelph or Kitchener. Do you think that Sleeman Breweries based in Guelph would get more value out of their partnership if Guelph was hosting the Memorial Cup in 2027? Of course they would. And so the person negotiating that deal should not have been on the selection committee. But he was. He didn't declare a conflict of interest because clearly he doesn't know what a conflict of interest is. And so we just continue on. As I said, that game on Sunday, it's going to be a doozy on and off the ice. I might have to take a helmet with me to the Sleeman Center on Sunday. Tonight, though, we'll focus on that, and Rangers head coach Jussi Ahokas will join us at 10:30 this morning for the Coaches Show. From one hockey team to another, I got a message from my buddy Dennis this morning who said, I think the Leafs are back. Listen, I'm not going to go too far here, but it is 3 in a row. And a certain hockey player by the name of Austin Matthews, his initials are AM, scored another goal last night in the Leafs' victory. A little AM on AM in the AM.
3 Leafs in the rush. Domi in front of the net. They score! Matthews! Set up by Max perfectly. Leafs 4, Carolina 1.
That's right. A 4-1 win, 3 wins in a row for the Toronto Maple Leafs. However, their goaltender, Joseph Woll, did suffer a mysterious injury. Not sure the extent of that yet. And that would be very bad news indeed. But I can understand why Leafs fans are starting to feel just a wee bit better this morning. Because when you win 3 in a row, the doubters start to go away, including self-doubt. All right, just ahead of your not $1 million question for this Friday morning. Let's get to that Farwell Show 5. Number 1, regional police are looking for 2 teens after an armed robbery at Fairview Mall. Police say 2 people had their electric scooters stolen at gunpoint last night at the mall. No injuries are reported. Number 2, I told you earlier this week on the Farwell Show 5 about a development in Cambridge that the city was successful in getting its way at the Ontario Land Tribunal. This very rarely happens. About 97% of the time, the Land Tribunal votes in favor of the developer. But Cambridge won one rare victory earlier this week. And then we get the latest information from the Ontario Land Tribunal about the proposed development at the site of the former Preston Springs Hotel. And guess who won that decision at the Land Tribunal? That's right. Hosstown Holdings has. And so 3 towers, not 2 like the city had hoped, 3 condominium towers will be raised, 635 total units, lots of parking spaces, lots of vehicles, lots of people coming to the site of the former Preston Springs Hotel as the developer wins at the OLT. At least something's going to happen on that site. It's a ding-dang eyesore right now. Number 3 on your Farwell Show 5 this Friday morning, provincial police have made progress in their investigation into a hit-and-run crash on the 401 that claimed the life of a Kitchener tow truck driver this week. Sergeant Ed Sanchuk provided an update yesterday.
A sincere thank you to everyone that provided information, to our media outlets that ran this story. I can tell you right now that the OPP have located that vehicle and have identified the driver of that commercial motor vehicle, and we are continuing to investigate. No further information will be released at this time as the investigation continues. However, once new information does become available, Provincial Constable Matt Foster from the Oxford OPP, who's the Media Relations Officer, will provide those updates.
So we know who the driver of the transport truck was, and we await further information from OPP. Number 4 on your Farwell Show 5 this morning, the final draw of the FIFA World Cup will soon bring the leaders of Canada and the United States face to face as trade negotiations remain on pause. Prime Minister Mark Carney in Washington today for the event at the Kennedy Center. And number 5, Cambridge will light up tonight with Phil Klein's Unsilent Night. If you have never experienced this before, strongly encourage. It's a lot of fun. It's one of Winterfest's most popular events in Cambridge, taking visitors on a magical and musical journey through illuminated local art installations accompanied by the music of Phil Klein, played on speakers throughout the downtown. It all begins at 6:45 at the Civic Square in Cambridge tonight. And that is your Farwell Show 5 for this Friday morning. Something else we like to do on our Friday mornings is what I call the not $1 million question. I have to call it the not $1 million question because initially I called it the $1 million question and somebody said, if I get it right, do I get $1 million? No, can't give you $1 million, but I can say to you how smart I think you are, and we will be so impressed with you forevermore. So let's see if you can get the answer to today's not $1 million question. 12% of people admit they have lied about this to impress someone. What is it? What is it that people have lied about in order to impress someone? 12% of us. That's 8.5 of us out of 100 have lied about this to impress someone. What is it we would lie about in order to impress someone? I'm feeling on the generous side today. This is connected to a story we talked about yesterday, just a wee bit. And it was actually a story we talked about near the beginning of the show yesterday. I'm going to leave it right there. I already gave you way too much in the way of hints. Do you think you know the answer to our not $1 million question? 12% of people admit they have lied about this to impress someone. What is it? 519-570-2545, star 570, 1-800-570-5715. We'll take your guesses right after this. Phone lines open. 12% of people admit they've lied about this to impress someone. What is it? This is the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Our good buddy Mark wanted to hear a little bit of George Harrison and Give Me Love on this All Request Friday Giving Songs edition. That's the first of your requests. There will be many more. Every chance we get to play one, you will hear one, and I'll hear it at the same time you do. But this week's All Request Friday theme is giving songs because on Tuesday, it was Giving Tuesday this week. Now we have made it to Friday, and I don't know about you, but holy Hannah, has this ever felt like a long week? So the weekend is right around the corner, so close we can almost touch it And on Friday mornings on the show, we do a little something we call the not $1 million question. Today's question, 12% of people admit they have lied about this to impress someone. What is it? 519-570-2545, star 570, and 1-800-570-5715. Let's go to the phones and start with Bill. Good morning, Bill.
Morning, Mike. How about their job or position?
That was the first thought I had, my friend, along with, I won't even say the second part of that. That's not the answer we're looking for, but good guess.
I'm in good company with you.
Exactly. We are in great company today, my friend. Thanks for playing along.
See you later.
All right, enjoy the day. I thought that. And then I thought something connected to that. And I think Dave from Cambridge, who was just on the phone and then disappeared, had the same idea. But that's not the answer. Your job or position in life. 12% of people admit they have lied about this to impress someone. What is it that they have lied to someone about just to impress them? David, good morning.
Good morning, Mike.
How are you, sir?
Better now.
Attaboy.
How about age?
Age? That's a tough one to lie about. Doesn't, like, your face kind of give it away?
No.
Really?
Really? Well, that's just just what I think, anyway.
No, listen, it's a good guess, especially, if you're creating one of those online profiles to maybe find a match somewhere, you might fib. Because now when I have to put my birthday into something, do you know how far back I have to scroll to get to 1971? It's 2025, almost 2026. It's a long way on that little drop-down menu to get back to 1971. But no, lying about your age to impress someone is not the answer we're looking for. Conservative Charlie, good morning.
Oh, Mike, I got the answer to this, and I know one person for sure that has got this.
Okay.
They lie about not having a love-hate relationship with Aaron Rodgers.
No. Charlie, no. Listen, there is no love-hate relationship with Aaron Rodgers. It's just a hate relation. I'm not supposed to use the word hate. My good friend Neil Aitchison said, can you try not to use that word on the radio? So I've tried very hard ever since Neil mentioned that some years ago. So I strongly dislike Aaron Rodgers. I don't know him personally, but I don't get the sense he's a very good person, quite frankly. And he's a terrible quarterback. He is. So no, there's no love part to that equation for me, conservative Charlie. I'm sorry, but I appreciate you continuing to poke away at that festering wound that I have. Brenda is with us this morning. Good morning, Brenda.
Good morning. I'll get to my answer in a minute.
Okay.
I just want to say I watch you on TV. Your first jingle gets a double E minus, but that doggy is cute.
Wait, you didn't like the pickle song?
No.
Okay.
No, oh my God.
All right, but you like the doggy. Okay.
The doggy gave me a laugh. It did.
Good.
It really.
Well,
I kind of needed it this morning.
I'm glad.
Now, my answer to your question is your weight.
Oh, Brenda, see, there's another good one. 12% of people admit they have lied about this to impress someone. What is it? It's not your weight. Much like David's guess a moment ago, I think that might be kind of tough. I don't know if you're, again, because David said age, if you're standing in front of someone, I think it's a little bit harder. Maybe you got a baby face. I don't know. Maybe you're just changing the weight by a few pounds here and there, but ain't nobody going to believe me when I say I weigh $120. You know what I'm saying? Because there have been a few too many butter tarts consumed by this old fella to get away with that gag anymore. 12% of people admit they have lied about this to impress someone. What is it? Sam, good morning.
Good morning. It's number 113, sir.
Oh, Farwell's Force member number. Welcome to the show. Good morning.
Thank you very much. I'm going to guess their education.
Their education. Also a very good guess. Not the answer we're looking for, but thanks for playing along.
I'm good.
All right. Appreciate it. Yeah, it sounds like Anchorman, right? My apartment smells of rich mahogany and is filled with many leather-bound books. You want to impress somebody with the letters after your name, right? PhD, BSc, MBA. Very good guess, Sam. Very good guess, but not the answer we're looking for. Mike, good morning.
Good morning, Michael. As a hiring manager, I've seen this plenty of times, lying about their job, position, or experience on a resume.
Mike, I would never do such a thing, you know. I may have done it once. And I got the job, too. I'm sorry I pulled the wool over that hiring manager's eyes, but that's not the answer we're looking for.
Okay, have a good day.
Thank you, Michael. You too. Great to hear from you up in Point Clark, beautiful part of our province. 12% of people admit they have lied about this to impress someone. What is it? Jason's got a guess. Good morning, Jason.
Mike, I'm wondering if your beloved maybe used this in the beginning when you guys first started dating, if he was secretly a Leafs fan.
Yeah, see, I wondered that, Jason, I love your guess, buddy. You know what? I think she is secretly a Leafs fan.
So that's not the correct answer, I know.
No, it's not your sports allegiance, but a good guess. Thanks, Jason. Good to hear from you today. We'll try one more here. Mad Dog, good morning.
Good morning, my friend. How are you?
I am just great, thank you. How are you?
Not bad. I think I'm 172 member.
Okay, hang on. I got to get my list out now because I know you're on the list somewhere. Let me see who I've got at 172 here. Hang on. A lot of papers to go through. The list is growing, and I have Mad Dog, 172. Farwell's Force official member. Attaboy.
Yes. You know how I remember that?
How?
1972, man, when you guys were talking about the Canada's team.
Oh, yeah, the Summit Series.
Baseball. I'm thinking 1972 was Canada's team.
I think you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Okay. 12.
Here's my guess.
Yes.
Yesterday you were talking about the birds and music and stuff like that, so that was kind of a hint that I thought you were giving. So I'm going to say 12% of the people lied about being at a rock concert.
Mad Dog, you are so close. You are so close. Not the answer we're looking for, but you are on the right track, my friend. The dog is barking up the right tree this morning. All right, Mad Dog. Thanks for the call. See, Mad Dog's paying attention. The Farwell's Force membership, not only is it up to 250 and counting, but they pay attention. I did give a hint, and Mad Dog was right there around it. But it's not lying about being at a rock concert. He's in the ballpark, though. If the concert were at a stadium, he'd be in it. 12% of people admit they have lied about this to impress someone. What is it? I promise your answer before 10 o'clock this morning. Right now, I have to get you to the 570 News Center for an update. And then we're going to light up the Uptown and fill it with holiday cheer beginning tonight. We'll talk about it coming up on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. That is a little bit of Crazy Elephant and Gimme Gimme Good Lovin' for Conservative Charlie on this All Request Friday Giving Songs edition, because this past Tuesday was Giving Tuesday. More of your requests as we make our way through the show today. Right now, I'm very happy to be joined in studio by a good friend who just also happens to be the executive director of the Uptown Waterloo Business Improvement Area. J.S. Ballascanthan is here with me. J.S., it's always good to see you. Good morning.
Good morning, Mike. Always good to see you, and thank you for having me on a busy Friday morning. I appreciate it very much.
Absolutely. It's a very busy time in Uptown. We are into the holiday season, and I think that spirit gets filled completely with the annual lighting of the tree later today.
Yeah, yes, sir. That is this evening, starting at 6 p.m. We are always grateful to be working with City of Waterloo and the family who donates the tree. The story was on CTV about last week ago. Amazing tree, and we work with Matt Creative. He's a local robotics engineer who does the lighting for us. All of the politicians, the dignitaries will be there today. Mayor McCabe, the councillors, some of the other local, provincial and federal politicians as well. And the ceremony, it's just not about tree lighting. It's about welcoming people to Uptown, welcoming people to our retail shops, our hospitality restaurants. And this ceremony tonight is going to be great. We are going to have Santa there with his buddies elves. We are going to have a group of carolers singing some holiday Christmas music. We are going to have a photo booth for folks to take, visitors to take photo, a face painter, caricature artists as well. So there's a lot going on for the families to come up. And this has always been on the first Friday of December. It's been a long tradition. Over the last couple of years, listening to a lot of families where part of the families are coming into town to go for dinner, spend time together, and come up to the tree lighting, and then go into the retail shops, go into our restaurants, and start the festivities off for the December month.
I'm glad you brought that into this because, yes, the ceremony with the tree lighting and all that happens around it is a reason for us to come uptown. But once we're there, so many other things for us to experience. What's the energy like in Uptown Waterloo right now?
The energy has been great, Mike. We are lucky. We have a vibrant Uptown. Our vacancy rate for retail and office space is under 6%, which is an anomaly in the region. It reflects on the resiliency of our businesses in Uptown, right? I wrote down a list so I don't forget, just to give a little bit of an example. This year alone, Princess Cinema Original celebrated 40 years. Jane Bond is 30 years. Uptown Home Hardware, 55 years. The Pyramid Institute just celebrated 25 years. Carry On Comic, 45 years. And Servant Shows, 10 years. So those are just about 6 out of how many other examples we have, right? So it shows the investment and the resiliency and our businesses and small businesses working hard and our community supporting the small businesses in this region and especially in Uptown, which is amazing. And we appreciate that. And we want our people to keep coming uptown, coming to local shops on a regular basis. So the energy is being great, and we want to keep that going, right? And adding to this, in Uptown, we also have the skating rink, which is going to be ready to go, and that brings community together on a regular basis as well.
That is quite the list of milestones achieved this year, and I can't believe the Jane Bond's been there for 30 already.
Yeah. Yeah,
wild stuff.
And if a couple of minutes add to going into next year, Gourmet Pizza, 20 years.
Wow.
Center for International Governance and Innovation, CG, is going to be 25 years. Eyes on King and Princess Cafe are going to be 15 years. So those are just some examples to give, right? So our businesses, they thrive. We have great neighbors around Uptown, and we have our region supports our local economy, right? Like right now, the Economic Development Department from the city is continually running a Support Local campaign, which is, we need it, and it's great, and we want to continue to do that. And going into 2026, in January, February, when it's cold out, we want folks to come up, right? We are going to have a bunch of activities happening. We got skate night, date night every Wednesday in the square, and the BIA, we are going to work with Macphil's to do some free skate rentals, so spur up the economy in Uptown, so people can come if they want to try skating, go get some free skate rentals and come home up to the rink and skate, and then go into the shops and enjoy what Uptown has to offer.
McPhail's is another place I've been going to since I was a kid.
It's been there for a long time.
Well, it must have been if it's been since I was a kid, right?
You're still young at heart, Mike. You're still young at heart.
Thank you, Jay.
We love that.
Thank you, my friend.
Yeah.
You talk about the support from the city around shopping and supporting local, and I feel like we're kind of at a unique moment right now with the whole elbows up idea, local procurement from our local governments, et cetera. How are you driving home the support local message through the Uptown Waterloo BIA?
Yeah, we are working with the Economic Development Department to share the message with all of our members. If you go into a lot of the shops in Uptown, they'll have stickers. There's also social media present, sharing stories of local creators, right? Even going back to celebrating the milestone. So there's always continuous and consistent reminder of all of these local businesses who've been here, right? Folks, they haven't taken it for granted. Wordsworth Bookstore last year celebrated 40 years, right? So, and our community hasn't taken it for granted, and we just continuously have to be mindful and continue to do that, and we'll get out of this in, I don't know how long, 3-6 months maybe, but we all need to pull it together, right? It's elbows up is great. Now we all need to pull together going into 2026. So we are standing by each other and we are supporting each other.
You talked about all of the things that will be happening even in the winter months, right, with those skate night, date nights, all kinds of different things to attract people into the Uptown. What would your message be to the community, JS, about Uptown Waterloo over the past year and as you look ahead to 2026?
Yeah, we are grateful. Thank you, the City of Waterloo community and the regional community for continuing to show up, continue to support our local businesses, and continue to show up and enjoy all of the events we've been having, all the activations. And we are going to continue to do that. And we want you to continue to show up for all of the events, right? In January, we have Winterloo at the end of January. We also have the Comfort Food Crawl. That's a fundraiser for Food Bank that the BIA puts on. So we are thoughtful, we are strategic, and we are going to continue to innovate and do different things to attract our regional folks first, and then visitors from out of town as well. And we depend on you, and we love your support, and continue to show up.
What's a day in the life of the executive director of the BIA like? Because I will just say that almost every time I'm in Uptown, I see you somewhere. And it seems like it's from one place to another, just physically being there, checking in on things.
Yeah, thank you for asking that question, Mike. I love my job, and it is about working for our members, right? I need to show up for our members. So when I'm out and about on the streets of King Street in Uptown, I am talking to our owners, business owners and managers, checking in to see what's happening, how we could help, what's missing, how we could be the advocacy, how we could be the connector for the missing link there, right? My job it's amazing. Every day is different and unique and brings in great things, challenging things. Today, I'm privileged. I'm lucky to be starting here with you to tell the story of what's happening Uptown. And then I have a meeting about waste management with changes that are coming through. And then in the afternoon, we are going to get ready for the tree lighting, right? So every day has 3, 4, 5 different things happening in intersections with the city, with the region, with our members. And I love the challenge and, doing my job. So
remind us again, just so we have it in our brains, what time it all starts for the tree lighting ceremony tonight.
The festivity starts at 6 p.m. tonight with the music and the carolers singing and all of the other activities happening. So come on up.
We're looking forward to it. JS, keep up the great work, and thank you very much for stopping by the show today.
Mike, we appreciate your community support and everything you do as an ambassador, and keep rocking and rolling, Mike. Thank you.
We will absolutely do it. Thank you, my friend. JS Balaskathan is the executive director of the Uptown Waterloo Business Improvement Area, and the tree lighting ceremony gets underway in Uptown at 6 tonight. Great opportunities for you to shop local in Uptown and all around our region this holiday season. JS mentioned that Santa's going to be in Waterloo tonight. It's a busy weekend for old St. Nick because he's going to make his way to Elmira tomorrow. We'll tell you about that coming up on the Mike Farwell Show. 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. These are some southern U.S. rock and rollers, but on this side of the border, I like to pronounce it the Canadian way. So that's a little bit of ZZ Top. And give me some lovin' on this All Request Friday, Giving Songs edition. Curtis wanted to hear that one, and there you go. That's how All Request Friday works. You make the request, and we will play a bit of it for you. We also add a theme to the All Request Friday every week, and this week's theme is giving, because this past Tuesday was Giving Tuesday. So there you go. Speaking of giving, I will give you the answer to that not $1 million question before 10, I promise. 12% of us have lied about this to impress someone. What is it? Again, I'll give you the answer before 10, but right now I want to have a chat with this fella. Murray Haight, a member of the Kiwanis Club of Elmira, joins us. Santa's coming to Elmira tomorrow. Murray, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Mike.
Tell us, please, about the annual Santa Claus parade winding its way through downtown Elmira tomorrow.
Well, it is what I call a traditional parade. It sort of starts off with a color guard made up of members from our local Legion, followed by the Regional Police Services Band. And then in behind that are the fire trucks and all the floats and lots of people walking, giving out lots of goodies. This year we've got over 30 entries that will make up the bulk of the parade.
What goes into getting all of this organized, Murray? How much time you got, Farwell? I know.
Yeah, no. How about a couple of months' worth? No, it starts at the end of August, we have to submit permit applications and to the township for a special permit, also to get regional police services, because the thing is takes place on a regional road, so we have to make arrangements to close off all the traffic and do it in a safe manner. And then beyond that, we have to rely on seeking funds from our local businesses to help support the thing, because the permits and the police and everything else all cost lots of money, liability insurance. And then, of course, you have to, send out all the applications and get everybody to enter an application for an entry into the parade. And I also seek the assistance of bands. They have to be arranged. It takes a lot of effort by a lot of people to make this thing a success.
You do have that direct line to the North Pole, though, and I understand Santa will be present at tomorrow's parade?
Yes, you're correct there. And the other thing is that what we're doing is we have made arrangements with the local post office, and the people from there will be walking just ahead of Santa and collecting letters that children can then submit to the post office, and they will take them and send them on to Santa for a appropriate reply.
That's fantastic.
Yep.
So 30 entries this year in the parade. What time does it start? What route will it follow?
Okay, it starts at exactly 10 o'clock. I make sure it starts right on time every year. And it starts at the north end of town at Arthur and William Street. It proceeds right down through the center of town, down to First Street, which is at the south end of town, and then it turns and goes towards the Legion.
What a great place for it to run too, Murray, because then you've got folks in the downtown, you've got the businesses that I'm sure get involved, and when the parade's finished, maybe we can grab a bite to eat or start our Christmas shopping.
That's correct, yeah.
How many years have you been doing this now?
Have I been doing it? Oh, it's over 15 years.
Wow.
And I think the parade itself has probably been running for close to 30.
Incredible stuff. Well, we're looking forward to tomorrow's edition of it. Stay warm out there, and thanks very much for making time for the show.
Great. Thanks for having me on.
Murray Haight. Bye-bye. Murray Haight joining us, a member of the Kiwanis Club of Elmira. It is that Kiwanis Club that puts on annually the Santa Claus Parade. They've got 30 entries in the parade this year, and you heard Murray say right there, he makes sure, he's the keeper of the time, and he makes sure that it starts at 10 a.m. sharp. So make sure you get out there, stake out your spot. It's a very popular thing in Elmira on this first Saturday in December. You'll find it starting on Arthur at William. It runs down to Arthur and First. And again, it's a 10 a.m. sharp start tomorrow. Santa Claus will, of course, be there. And if your kids have letters to get to Santa, they will be collected along that parade route as well. So the Kiwanis Club of Elmira Santa Claus Parade tomorrow starting at 10, Arthur Street and William, and running right through the core of Elmira. 12% of people admit that they have lied about this to impress someone. What is this? I'm going to give you that answer, I promise. I first, though, want to take just a quick moment to offer congratulations to Sharon G., who was our winner this morning in the 570 News Radio Tree of Hope 50/50 raffle early bird prize. So this raffle, as you've probably heard me say, has got a guaranteed minimum jackpot of $50,000. That's the minimum you're going to win. I know the jackpot's going to go even higher, but goodness gracious, who couldn't use $50,000 around the holiday time, right? And our third early bird prize of a pair of tickets to see Ed Sheeran in Toronto next summer and $1,000 in cold hard cash was awarded this morning to Sharon. So congratulations to her. Her numbers are still in the overall jackpot draw. Here at the station this morning, I met Doug, who won our early bird prize last week. Got a couple of tickets to see the Jonas Brothers and $1,000 in cash. He was here collecting it. It was awesome to see. So there is another early bird prize available to you. How does $2,500 cash sound? Yeah, that could be yours, courtesy of Hefner Lexus Toyota. We're going to make that draw next Friday. So what better time than now to get in on some tickets? Even if you win an early bird prize, you're still in for the overall jackpot, guaranteed to be $50,000. It's going to go higher. I know it will. You can get tickets for as little as $10. That'll get you 5 numbers at FACS5050.com. FACS5050.com. It's FACS because this is all in support of Family and Children Services of Waterloo Region Foundation. FACS5050.com. Get some tickets, get in on that early bird draw, $2,500 in cash next Friday morning, and the overall jackpot guaranteed to be $50,000. But it's going to go even more, I promise. I know these things. FACS5050.com. 12% of people admit they have lied about this to impress someone. What is it? It is connected to something we talked about on the show yesterday. Mad Dog called earlier, got so close because he was talking about the music and the trivia, and he said going to a rock concert. So close. Taste in music. 12% of us have lied about our taste in music to impress someone. And I got to say, Nathan, you impress me. Nathan sent an email to Mike at 570news.com just before 9:30. Said it's got to be lying about their taste in music. Although I'm not really sure that counts as a win. But there you go. I mean, if you lie about it, you're going to have to listen to bad music. Wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be what you're doing? But that's what 12% of us admit to lying about just to impress someone. Our taste in music. That is the answer to your not $1 million question this week. We're going to take a quick break, get you an update from the 570 News Center, and then it's the loneliness movement. Might not be exactly what you think. I mean, there is increasing loneliness, but we are working now to combat it thanks to the efforts of a woman in Guelph. You'll meet her next on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
I'll give a little bit of my love to you.
I mean, you knew it was coming, didn't you? On an all-request Friday, Giving Songs edition. That's the theme I gave you because this past Tuesday was Giving Tuesday. So today's requests must some way, somehow fit the theme of giving. And of course, Give a Little Bit by Supertramp was going to make the cut. So many of you requested the same song. Maybe we're not as creative as I thought. I don't know. But Reed, you're welcome. Lynn, Farwell's Force member number 44, you're also welcome. Heather, Farwell's Force member number 92, equally welcome. And Denna, Farwell's Force member number 19, who's celebrating a birthday today. Happy birthday. And there you go, Supertramp and Give a Little Bit on this All Request Friday Giving Songs edition. If you want to hear a song that fits the theme, you can make your request still just by sending an email, mike@570news.com. Or when you call in to talk to Jen, who's operating the board on the other side of the glass, just let her know what song you would like to hear. All Request Friday Giving Songs edition. Came across this story just the other day and absolutely loved it because I think you know that we are less social perhaps than we once were. And in fact, we have learned over time that being socially isolated is not necessarily good for our health. We look for ways to get older adults in particular connected, remain connected, making friends at any age. And I think this next guest who we're about to meet has figured out a bit of a solution for that. Her name is Ella Baker, and she joins us this morning from Guelph. Ella, good morning.
Hi, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. How about yourself?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. You are the chief organizer of Connecting Women of Guelph and Connecting Men of Guelph. How did this all get started for you?
It started last year. I've been in Canada for 18 years, and I've been in Guelph for 14 years, and I've just found it really hard to feel like I could find a place where I belonged. So last summer, I decided I would put myself out into the world and be vulnerable. And so I used Facebook to just write a post on one of the neighborhood sites to see if there were any other women that were looking for friends. I had an overwhelming response, so I created a Facebook group. And then a couple of months later, after I had found some solid friends, I decided I would change the name of the group and open it up to the whole of Guelph. And that is where the women's group came from.
Connecting Women of Guelph, which has led us now to Connecting Men of Guelph. Where are we at in terms of that organization?
So I only started that last Wednesday, and already there's 60 members. Again, it's a Facebook group. The Guelph Today did a follow-up story from my group last year. So that released this week, and new members are coming in. So I'm going to be posting I do a monthly meetup. That's how I started the women's group. So that is going to be at one of the local breweries, who's been an amazing supporter of what I'm trying to accomplish in Guelph. So that is going to be hosted in a week. And yeah, it's just the men will hopefully show, and they can meet some other people that have the same interests or in the same age bracket. And then it kind of should evolve from there on.
You mentioned, Ella, that you decided to put this post on one of the neighborhood groups on Facebook in Guelph, make yourself vulnerable like that, which is not an easy thing to do at all. What's the response been like, and what benefits have you found from this?
I'm going to be honest, I was scared to death. I thought I was going to be judged. But I have found that when you're vulnerable, people really respond in such a kind way, and they then open up. And then you realize that you're not the only person. You're not you're not a failure of society because you haven't really found where you belong. We all at some point in our lives have felt maybe we don't belong or we feel a little bit lonely, even if it's just for one day. And I've realized through everything that I've seen throughout the group is loneliness and not belonging and being vulnerable. It's a human emotion. It's not who we are. And when you reach out and you tell people how you feel, I have found that people respond, that they feel the same way, and you have an instant connection, an instant bond, because you both know how the other person feels. And then the world becomes a little less intimidating.
So 1,300 members strong on connecting women of Guelph just a year in. 60 members already connecting men of Guelph just over a week into this. Are you surprised at all by that number, Ella? Because I wondered if it might not be a little more difficult for us macho men to be so vulnerable.
I did. This is more than I was expecting, but I came across a couple of people during the summer, a couple of males, and I was just telling them about my group. And one of them was vulnerable enough to tell me that he was, close to retirement, didn't really have any friends, and that he wished there was something out there for men. And it kind of got me thinking that maybe, some people want that connection. They just don't know how to do it. So I thought, seeing as the women's group had been so successful, I would just do it for them. So I'm really interested to see. The group is being very active right now. All the men are introducing themselves, which is how it started naturally with the women's group. So I feel pretty positive about this.
Do folks only connect online through those Facebook groups, or do they then use that platform to connect in real life for any activities?
Yeah, so it's just you post an event or tell me where it is and I'll post it. It can be anything you're interested in. So with the women's group, we have a monthly dinner that one of the members, she hosts that. She organizes everything. She just puts a date, time, and a place. And then people RSVP, say that they're coming, and then they just all meet. So the platform is only used to say, hey, for the men's group, I don't know, I'm interested in golf. I will be here at this time. If anybody else would like to come, and then people just say, yeah, I'll be there. And they use the platform just to get the attention of somebody that has the same interest, and then they meet in real life. So my goal is for people to just use the platform to meet in real life. And then most of the time they take it away from there. Like, I know that there are a lot of WhatsApp chats now that have been created for people that have the similar interests. So my group is really just the introduction, and then it naturally evolves out of that.
Again, just looking at those numbers, 1,300 and going strong, connecting women of Guelph. A very good start with 60 strong and counting for connecting men of Guelph. Have you thought, Ella, of evolving this even beyond the city of Guelph and maybe making some sort of connected movement?
I have. This has been stirring with me. I have a lot of ideas. I want to encourage people to get back to in-person. There are benefits to social media. Like, I wouldn't be able to reach as many people if it wasn't for Facebook. So social media can still be used for good, but it's just that one little push to be in real life where you get the real benefit. So I'm launching the loneliness movement. I want to try and use the model that I've built in Guelph. It can be used anywhere. I want to be able to teach people how to, especially people that aren't tech savvy, how to create a group within their city, how to get it moving. And everybody else, it takes a village, and the communities just, they just meet each other. So the loneliness movement is something that I'm creating, and I'm trying to spread the word and just be more of an advocate for people not to be ashamed if they feel lonely. There's nothing to be ashamed about. It's just, as I said, it's a human emotion. We all feel it. Sometimes you just need to be a little bit vulnerable. How
have things changed for you, Ella, since you decided to be that vulnerable over a year ago?
My life has completely changed. I feel like I have a great community around me. I have a great support network now. All of my family, I'm from England, all of my family still live in England, so I'm here alone. So it has, I thought I didn't belong in Canada, but I've realized that everybody belongs everywhere. You just need to find the right people to create that support network. And it has completely changed the way that I view living here. And how long I'll stay as well. I think if it keeps going like this, I'll probably be here for a very long time.
I think it's a great story, and I'm so impressed with your ability to be vulnerable like that, put yourself out there, and now sharing those benefits with others through these groups. Kudos to you, Ella, and thank you very much for joining the show today.
Thank you, Mike. Have a great Christmas.
You as well. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Ella Baker is the organizer of Connecting Women of Guelph, started just over a year ago, now 1,300 plus women strong. And just in late November, about a week ago, began Connecting Men of Guelph, already 60 members strong and counting. Listen, we know, and there's nothing to be ashamed of if you're feeling a little bit lonely. Facebook groups like this can begin making those connections. You'll find some people with similar interests. The next thing you know, you're doing things together in real life. And hey, not only do you have your crew, if you will, the people that you can do things with, but you might even make a nice friend out of it. Ella Baker with Connecting Women of Guelph and Connecting Men of Guelph, and now working towards the loneliness movement more broadly. Love to share a story like that here on the show, almost as much as I love sharing the next story, because we've talked to this gentleman a few times, and every time he comes back, he's just got a bigger and badder and better update to share with us, and that's what you're going to find out next, including a way for you to support his efforts again this coming weekend. Stay with us. The story is coming up on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
I'm sick and tired of hearing things from uptight, short-sighted, narrow-minded hypocrites. All I want is the truth. Just give me some truth. I've had enough of reading things by neurotic, psychotic, big-headed politics. All I want is the truth.
Little bit of John Lennon and Give Me Some Truth on this All Request Friday Giving Songs edition. That one by request of Mark. If you want to make a request that fits our theme of giving songs, send me an email, mike@570news.com. Really pleased to have our next guest back in the studio. He is wearing, as always, his Yellow Moon Mouse Publishing ball cap. His name is Dennis Shear, and he has just got endless energy. It's good to see you. Can you just give us the brief background for those who may not have met you before through this show, how this all got started for you?
Oh, just one second. There's a little lady that doesn't want to appear.
Well, I don't know what you would do without her, Dennis.
Without her, this would not happen.
There you go.
Absolutely would not happen.
She's like the little elf, just came in here, brought you your glasses so you don't miss anything.
Yeah, she just does everything.
That would be Dennis's lovely wife, Joyce, by the way.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
She looks after everything, and she looks after me. And she takes care of a lot of stuff behind the scenes that we don't even know about.
So this whole campaign started for you because of your grandson.
Yeah, back in 2018 when he was diagnosed with leukemia. He is now cancer-free thanks to medical science and research. And that's why we do what we do, selling our children's books, stories created by me and our grandsons, and we put them into books and donate the profits to childhood cancer.
I absolutely love it. You're going to be at Zehrs Stanley Park Mall starting Sunday, and you'll be there all week.
I'm going to be there all week at Zehrs in Stanley Park. We have a goal to reach of $1,000. To round out $10,000 for the charities this year, and hopefully we're going to do it, and we're asking everybody to come out there and say hello and buy a book.
I love it. So all you have to do is go to Zehrs there at Stanley Park Mall from Sunday, which is the 7th, right through next Saturday, the 13th. Get one of these books because when you do, you're supporting a very good cause. Proceeds go into childhood cancer research. Can you share with us where the money's going?
All the money from Stanley Park is going to Kitchener-Waterloo charities. It's going to naturally Farwell for hire. And it's going to go to POGO, the Pediatric Oncology Group of Ontario, which they have a kids' cancer run with Dr. Jody Rosner.
Yep.
So we're donating to that. And then OPAC, Ontario Parents Advertising, or Advocating for Children with Cancer. We are donating to that charity, plus Make-A-Wish. And to the Nolan Melchin Memorial Foundation, we're going to give a donation there. And that's what we do.
Boy, oh boy, I've been at that Kids Run and Walk for Cancer with Dr. Rosner before. I've been to that golf tournament for Nolan Melchin Memorial before. You're really hitting all the right notes in this community for sure, Dennis. And I know in the spirit of the holiday season, you just got yourself a bit of a whopper, didn't you?
Yeah, it was quite a surprise. I had this person wants to stay anonymous, but he has donated the value of over $3,000 worth of books, and Yellow Mouse is matching it. So we're putting in $6,720 worth of books to Toy Mountain this coming up.
That's absolutely incredible. And this donor anonymously, wants to remain anonymous, but found you and wanted to make this $3,000 plus donation.
Exactly. Yeah, we hit that once in a while. And
that's fantastic. Good for you.
And it's a good thing.
Before you get to Stanley Park Mall Zares starting Sunday, I know you're busy in Guelph even tomorrow, aren't you?
Yeah, we're at Three Willows Church in Guelph on Willow Road tomorrow for a Christmas show. If anybody wants to come out there, they can come out and see us out there and buy some books and support the cause there. So I know there's a lot of Guelph listeners out there, so come on out and say hello.
What hours are you there for?
I'm going to be there from 9 till 1.
9 till 1, Three Willows Church on Willow Road in Guelph. Yep. Okay, so that's where you'll find Dennis in Guelph tomorrow, again starting Sunday, running right through the week until next Saturday the 13th at Zares Stanley Park Mall in Kitchener. Hoping to get that $1,000 more to put you at $10,000 for the year.
Exactly.
Donated to these charities. How much have you raised in total? Have you kept track?
Yeah, we're just over $50,000.
$50,000 since you started doing this.
Yeah.
Where do you get the energy to be at all of these shows in all of these places?
Well, it's a hard thing when you go to the hospital and see these kids. That's where you get the energy. They're fighting for their life, and we're fighting for them. We're donating all the profits or all the proceeds from the books. We're donating to Toy Mountain in memory of Nolan Melchin, the little guy who lost his battle with brain tumor, I guess it was, and everybody knows little Abigail Lobsinger, Waterloo's bravest little cookie, and so in memory of them, that's where the books are going.
It's amazing stuff that you're doing, Dennis. Again, Three Willows Church on Willow Road in Guelph tomorrow, and then starting Sunday, you'll find Dennis and his great children's stories at the Zares Stanley Park Mall location in Kitchener. He'll be there right through the week. We want to get him that $1,000, maybe even more, to put him over the top of $10,000 raised for charity again this year. Keep adding to that $50,000 plus total. You're a good man. Really appreciate seeing you.
Thank you for having us here. And by the way, that little gift of tarts.
Yeah, I saw some. I should have mentioned that, but I'm hiding the butter tarts. I'm not sharing these.
They're missing the raisins.
They should be missing the raisins.
We were over at the other station with Angie and Sarge today. And Sarge told me to leave you a message. Those are half tarts.
Yeah, half tarts. Sarge, you can have all the raisins, pal. Leave the raisins out of my tarts. Dennis, you're a good man. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having us.
This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. can only mean two things. Either the Kitchener Rangers have scored a goal, because that's the song you'll hear when they do that on home ice, or it's Friday morning at 10:30, which means it's time for the Coaches Show, joined by Rangers head coach Jussi Ahokas ahead of tonight's game versus the Peterborough Petes. Jussi, good morning.
Good morning.
On Wednesday night in London, you held the Knights to 3 shots in the third period. Was that the best period you've seen from your team all year?
No, I don't think so. We defended well, but we didn't really create 5 off offense either. So, but it was a good, smart play. 20 minutes when we're leading. So happy with the win. Of course, the second period was kind of, it was junior hockey, not in its best. It was quite bond hockey after the Teddy Bears got out. There was there was quite many mistakes and not concentration, but it was good. We got of it, still leading 4-3.
I love what you said on Wednesday, Jussi, that a second period like that is the kind of period that gives a coach gray hairs, because you're right. It was just full of mistakes. There wasn't a lot of concentration for lots of different reasons, including the teddy bear toss. But how did you get the team then to refocus for that third period like you did?
Well, you talk, and like that's, you can change. And I thought first period was quite even. Like after we got the first goal, but all in all, I thought third period we got our team together, and I think it's a lot to do with also that the guys understand that you can't play like that if you want to win. So that was a good thing. Like last 20, it was good to go on from there.
When you have a period like that, or you're watching a period like that, the second period from behind the bench, all of a sudden you're trailing in the game, and then Jack Pridham gets that shorthanded goal for you. Did you get a sense then that, okay, we're back in this thing?
Not really, no. It was a good PK goal for sure, highlight goal. But all in all, even though we killed the penalty and that, but second period wasn't how we want to play hockey. Like a lot of details where our stick defense was terrible, and all in all, we weren't playing the way how we normally play in our puck position. Didn't get a lot better, but as one of those games, our special teams were really good. I thought in London, and power play looked pretty much the best what it's looked the whole year, and it's good to get a win like that, because our 5-on-5, I thought that wasn't. It was actually one of our bad games on 5-on-5. How I would say what we played during the year.
The standings in the Western Conference are so incredibly tight. You go from 5th place to 2nd place in the conference, and you go to 1st place in the division with just that one win on Wednesday night. When the standings are this tight, does it make you better? Because you have to, every win means so much to get some separation here?
I think that's the whole 68 games that you need. It's the same amount of point you need to get wins. That's right now. Of course, you want to be leading, and we're in a good situation. But still, we need to get going, and we need to keep going, getting points. And the fact is that we want to keep getting better, and then in the end, you just want to be in a good situation that you'll be able to have home advantage at the playoffs, and to get to playoffs and get home advantage. And last year we were second in the league, and we got a home advantage only for one round. So it's with the setup how it is, it's important to win the Midwest division. But there's still a long ways to go, and the game has to get a lot better. So right now I'm looking one game ahead, and we want to win. Like today, Peterborough, we want to win that, and then we think about the next one. No use trying to think too far ahead.
What things would you like to see improve this weekend?
Well, for sure, our D zone play, and then our breakouts, that we get in rhythm. Actually, against Erie, we created a lot. We played. We could have scored more But I think against London, looking on that, just breakouts in our D-zone details have to be better.
Peterborough's playing some good hockey lately, 7 wins in their past 10, including a win last night. What do you have to do to be successful against the Petes?
Well, they have a good power play. They have good special teams, so you have to stay out of the box. And then all in all, we have to be. But I'm looking at us like we have to be, like I said, D-zone have to be dialed in, and we have to battle, and that's battle, and we have to take the shots. We need some greasy rebound goals.
UC, thanks for this. We'll see you at the rink tonight.
All right, thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
UC Ahokas, the head coach of the Kitchener Rangers, joins us every Friday morning, 10:30, for the Coaches Show, because it's game day, baby. Friday nights are hockey nights in Kitchener. The Peterborough Petes come to town. Wee bit of trivia for you. The Kitchener Canucks moved to Peterborough, became the Petes 1962. And a year later, Eugene George and the Kitchener Rangers became a thing. So really, the Peterborough Petes are like the former Kitchener Rangers. And they're coming to town tonight to take on our boys in blue. I mentioned that win that the Petes got last night, and it was over the hottest team in the entire Ontario Hockey League, the Flint Firebirds, who were on a 12-game point streak, winners of 11 in a row, then an overtime loss. And then they come into Peterborough last night, and the Petes beat them. So Peterborough probably feeling pretty good, and take nothing away from those Firebirds. They are on fire, if you will. But the Petes are playing some good hockey right now. And just going back to that conversation with UC Ahokas, I loved what he said Wednesday night. If you missed it after the game in London, he did say that second period is really hard to figure out. You had a Ranger team that was up 1-0 after 20 and then didn't allow a goal in the third period and only allowed 3 shots against. So as good as they were defensively, coach thinks, well, they needed to generate more offensively. Fair enough. You want to see it at both sides of the ice for sure. But it was just an incredible second period. 6 goals scored in total, 3 from each team. The Rangers get one early in the second on Wednesday in London to go up 2-0. Then the Knights get 3 straight, and all of a sudden they're winning. And then Jack Pridham's shorthanded goal ties the game, and Cameron Arquette bangs in a puck at the side of the net, turns out to be the game winner. All of it coming in the second period before the Rangers shut it right down in the third. And UC Ahokas said that second period was junior hockey at its best. It gives you gray hairs if you're a coach, because it was a pretty wild and woolly affair at that point. Entertaining as heck, I guess, but you knew from the broadcast booth and probably from the stands that it's not the kind of period that either coach would have liked. I will also add this, and I'm not trying to, I feel like I'm being a jinx if I do, but there was something different on Wednesday in London where, just for me, feeling the game, the atmosphere, watching the Rangers' body language, whatever it was, it didn't seem the same as it has been in recent years in games versus the London Knights. Even though the Knights scored 3 to take the lead, the Kitchener Rangers, it didn't look like they felt like, oh, here we go again. It's London, always beating us. There was just something different. And there was never, not for 1 second, a doubt in my mind that the Rangers would battle their way back in that game, and they did. So I don't know, there's just something different, to me anyway, about that rivalry this year. And I know the teams are different, but 3 games in the season series with London and Kitchener, and the road team has won every one. London winning in Kitchener, and the Rangers winning twice now in London this season. The focus turns tonight to the Peterborough Petes. If I can just say this real quick, though. Like this game on Sunday versus Guelph, come on with your coming on. Are we going to have ourselves a Sunday at the Sleeman Center or what? Because not only is it the first meeting since Guelph was awarded the 2027 Memorial Cup and Kitchener was not, but there is additional drama around the 5-member selection committee for that Memorial Cup, and not even a potential conflict of interest, but a flat-out conflict of interest that existed on that selection committee. And all of that's playing out behind the scenes when the teams meet on the ice. That is going to be a fantastic game. I can't wait. But tonight, it's the Peterborough Petes, again, coming in off that win, having won 7 of their past 10. The Petes have climbed all the way up to 4th place in the Eastern Conference. The Kitchener Rangers sitting 2nd in the Western Conference, and we've got the 2nd seed because we are currently leading the Midwest Division. We've got 34 points. The Owen Sound Attack also have 34 points, but our winning percentage is better. So Kitchener gets first spot. London at 33 points, and then the Guelph Storm at 30. So 4 points separates first from 4th in the Midwest Division. But Kitchener hanging in there, tops in the division and 2nd in the Western Conference. When we look at the leaders in the Ontario Hockey League, we find not 1, not 2, but 3 members of the Brantford Bulldogs in the top 5 league scorers. The Bulldogs are quite the team this season, and they only lost in regulation for the first time last weekend. In fact, they lost twice. They lost on Friday and Sunday in regulation. Last Saturday, they beat our Kitchener Rangers, but it was a very entertaining game. Nonetheless, Brantford continues to lead the league. Kitchener sitting 2nd in the Western Conference and 1st in the Midwest Division, and they will tonight host the Peterborough Petes. You can hear me and Josh Piercy right here on 570 News Radio. The Harris Law pregame show gets underway at 6:30, and we're there for the night, baby, because after every home game, it's Rangers Talk, where Josh and I stay late, and we take your calls to talk about Rangers hockey. This is your home of Kitchener Rangers hockey, and we'll take a quick break. Coming back with some Kitchener High School music students that we got to get to the Nationals in the spring, and we can help these talented young musicians get there. We'll tell you how coming up on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Waking a sweat again. Another day's been laid to waste. In my disgrace, stuck in my head again. Feels like I'll never leave this place. There's no escape. I'm my own worst enemy. I've given
The unmistakable sound of Lincoln Park by request for Nate, Farwell's Force member number 8. Song called Given Up on this All Request Friday Giving Songs edition, in keeping with the theme of music. What a treat it is to be joined by this next guest. Ryan Coulter's a vocal music teacher with the Waterloo Region Integrated Arts Program at Eastwood Collegiate Institute in Kitchener. Ryan, good morning.
Good morning.
You tell us a little more about the Integrated Arts Program at Eastwood?
Sure. So we're kind of a long-standing staple for arts in Waterloo Region. The program has been around since the 80s. It's an auditioned program of students from all across Waterloo Region and even some from outside of the region who drive in just to come to school here. We have specializations all across the arts, and I've got to make sure I get them right. I teach vocal music. We've got instrumental music in band and strings. We've got dance and drama and visual art, music production and production technology. I think I got them all. Yeah.
It's so well known, that program, Ryan, and you do great work. You really do. Our daughter went through the program at Eastwood, and I know from students coming from afar, it's well worth it, and you just do such great work. So kudos to you and all involved. Thank you, because it's great for our kids. It really is. So,
you know what? Actually, I can attest. I'm an Eastwood grad myself.
Attaboy. Love it.
Good to be back here.
Love it. Okay, so the Eastwood Music Program is going to be representing our community at Music Fest Nationals in the spring. What are Music Fest Nationals?
So Music Fest, it's an annual festival that happens for young musicians all across the country to perform their stuff in front of a professional panel of adjudicators, to receive coaching from these clinicians that come from all across Canada and beyond. So last spring, we took 8 of our musical ensembles to Brampton, where they performed there, and we've never had this before, each one of our ensembles received a gold standing and an invitation to perform at the national level this year. So that we're really excited about. It's a big honor. So we'll be going to Niagara Falls in May, where our students will get to hear musicians from all across the country of a really high caliber and perform alongside them and receive some pretty high-level coaching as well.
Of course, an opportunity like this is so valuable for the students, but it doesn't come inexpensively. I know you're trying to do some fundraising for that. How much do you need and how can we help?
For us, our job as a school is to make sure that every student who wants this opportunity can go, right? That's our mandate, right, is that we don't hold students back just because of opportunity like that. So the cost per student, though, has gotten really high for trips like this. So for our students, it's about $1,000 per student to go on this trip. And that covers, the accommodations, the travel, the experiences that we have while we are there that they participate in, as well as the insurance and all those things. So what we're really looking for right now is any help that people can provide to help sponsor our students to go on this trip. We have done a lot of fundraising already, and we have managed to cover a lot of our students who have asked for financial assistance. But at this point, we are at our max for what we can provide. And so now we're to the point where, we have some students in our program who are really influential leaders here, and who are, coaching their peers to help them get ready for this thing, who aren't yet signed up for the trip. So here we are looking for help.
Well, and it's understandable. I think we as a community want to ensure our young people get these opportunities as well. And, as a grad of the program, you already mentioned, Ryan, and now you're seeing these young people come through the program today. How do you see them grow through their participation in this?
It's really on a number of levels, and some of these things, when you're working in the arts, they're hard to describe on a quantifiable level, right? What it means for a young musician to go and work with world-class clinicians, to hear, for us here in Waterloo Region, we're really proud of what we do in the arts program, and our kids are involved in so many things, not just here at Eastwood. They're involved in some pretty incredible ensembles. I know in my vocal program, I have students who go right from performing here to working with Pop Nation Canada and Drayton Entertainment, right? But to go beyond Waterloo Region and see the level of musicianship that's happening out there, it's really inspiring and motivating for our students. I know for a lot of them, that's where they really get the bug to take their music education more seriously, to pursue a future in the arts, right? And to actually see what's possible for them as young musicians. Sorry, we're in school and the announcements are going. We're always busy here. But they can also see what's possible for them with a future in the arts, maybe beyond just being a performer, or maybe it is that they get the performing bug, right? So it's really where we plant a lot of seeds that turn into something bigger for them.
Is there a site you could point us to that if we're interested in making a donation, we could pledge some support?
Absolutely. So the site that we solicit donations through, it's a WRDSB website. So it's wrdsb.ca for the Waterloo Region District School Board /WEFI/donate. So that will take you to a donation portal. And from there, you just have to click Eastwood in the drop-down menu. And then once you get Eastwood in the drop-down menu, we just ask you to write a little message to designate that it's for our Music Fest trip. That part is really important.
I'll make sure I share that through our social media channels with your permission today as well, Ryan.
Of course.
Perfect. So we'll put that on X at Farwell_WR, on our show Facebook page as well, which is the Mike Farwell Show. And we'll wish you and the students continued success, Ryan. Thanks for doing what you do for our kids, and we'll help everybody get to Music Fest Nationals in the spring.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Ryan. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You as well.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Ryan Coulter is a vocal music teacher with the Waterloo Region Integrated Arts Program at Eastwood Collegiate. We want to help these kids get this tremendous opportunity. You know, I'm very passionate about the arts and the value it brings to our kids' lives. So watch for that link at Farwell_WR on X and on our Facebook page, facebook.com/The Mike Farwell Show. Our Friday 4 Roundtable coming up on 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. It is an all-request Friday, Giving Songs edition, and Maria decided to Rick-roll us today with a little bit of Rick Astley and Never Gonna Give You Up. Your requests get played on Fridays here on the show. Something else we do on Fridays here on the show is the Round Table, which is a discussion of this week's big stories. We call it the Friday Four. And joining us around that virtual table this morning, we have John Hendry, who's a professional speaker, author, and a retired public school board trustee. Also based on his attire today. If you're not watching on Rogers TV Cable 20, he's a Kitchener Rangers fan. He's got the Rangers jersey on. Good morning, John.
Morning. How are you, Mike?
I'm very well, thank you. Yvonne Fernandez is with us as well, the president of the Dune Pioneer Park Community Center. Good morning, Yvonne.
Hi. Nice to be back.
It's
Feels
nice
like ages.
It has been a while. It's nice to have you back. And Joanne McNeish is with us as well. It's been a bit since we've seen her, an associate professor of marketing at the Ted Rogers School of Business, Toronto Metropolitan University. Joanne, good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning. Glad to be back.
It's great to have you as well. John, I'll start with you on the first one, and it's just the way the rotation falls, but this makes sense as a retired public school board trustee because we got the test scores, the EQAO results this week. Education Minister Paul Calandra says he's not satisfied. What do we do to improve these scores, John Hendry?
Well, my first thought is I remember back as a trustee, I was always opposed to this EQAO testing. I don't see any point in it. The teachers don't like it, obviously. You know what, Mike? I think the government, and I'm talking about all the governments, like the successive Liberal government, the Conservative government, they all like to put their own stamp on education. And what happens is they end up changing the curriculum. They change the way they want math done. They want the new math and they want the old math. And quite frankly, it's very difficult for teachers because with that, they don't give them adequate time and adequate training in order to get back into the groove of what they're looking for. And so if you can imagine how hard it is on teachers, how hard must it be on students that are struggling? And that's another problem. The testing, in many cases, doesn't account for the number of new Canadians. It doesn't account for the number of special education students, and they all skew the numbers. So some schools that are doing a very good job come out with very poor numbers simply because of the makeup of their schools. So I think teachers are in the best position to judge whether their students are struggling, if they need help, how do they get them help. This testing reminds me when I was in the Navy, if one sailor makes a mistake, it's the entire Navy that are at fault. So, you can't brush all students with the same brush. So that's my opinion.
Okay, so taking the standard out of standardized testing. Yvonne, your thoughts?
So I think part of the problem, and having been in the classroom in the Catholic board and then independent Christian school, I think that there's a lot that needs to be done in terms of the class sizes and adding more educational assistants into the classroom. We're hearing all the time about the violence in the classroom, the kids that are disruptive, and it's hard. It's a very difficult environment to learn in. When you have that kind of environment to learn in and the teachers are trying to just manage behaviors, how can they take the time to teach? So, the funding from the province has to come down to our schools. and make sure that we have a higher ratio of adult to child. I think that will make a huge difference. I saw that in the school that I worked in, that I volunteer in now. It does make a difference. And then you can manage the behaviors, and then the kids that want to learn can learn. I think John does have a good point. We have a lot of diversity in our schools, and I think it's hard to teach to all those different levels. And having an extra person in the classroom who can focus on some of those kids and maybe take them out of the classroom so that they have a quieter environment in which to learn in. I know that they used to do that when my kids were in school, and I don't know why we've gone away from that.
Joanne, I'm sure you have a unique perspective on this as well, because while standardized testing is not present at post-secondary, you are seeing those students after they have come through these other schools. So what do you think we could do to improve test scores, if it's even necessary at all?
So it's fascinating that I was actually had that same thought in my head. I see the end result of all of this. So at universities, we've put in place remedial writing and reading programs. So with or without standardized testing, the quality of the writing and reading has gone down. And I think part of the problem is the straying away from pure education and the overlaying of the solution to social problems, immigration problems, pick a problem, any problem. We've put that all on the school system. And so my age is going to betray me, but a school system is supposed to be about a certain set of information. So I can agree or disagree around standardized testing, but I will say that the result of whatever people have done, and I think it is the confusion around the purpose of education, which is to teach a society certain fundamental things, and we can agree or disagree on some of the other subjects, but I think the ability to do math at a basic level and the ability to write, I think there can be almost no disagreement that that's what education was supposed to be. And I have in my head some sort of weird article, because that's what I get to do as a professor, where in fact educational technology has been the worst thing that we've done to schools. And people say, well, there was nothing wrong with the introduction of the calculator. The calculator was a good thing. The outcome of the introduction of the calculator is students who can't do basic math in their head. So actually, it's a massive experiment that's failed. So this test, right or wrong, and again, we can argue about the testing itself. The testing actually, if you go into, there's individual reports that you can download. So there's the English report and the French report. The scores are slightly different between those two systems. And so, Yvonne, exactly what you're saying, when you can have a more focused type of education, in fact, you can you can actually be teaching instead of managing all the other things. I think there's and it's my favorite subject, so I won't go into it, but these 4 school boards, 2 languages, 2 religions, all of that has created a system that, so this set of scores shows something, because in fact, when you look at an Eastern other parts of the world education system, they still teach cursive, they still do rote math, they actually still do education, and I can see it in the students that come as exchange students to my classes. Their English, reading, and math skills are extraordinarily good compared to the average student. And one could say, well, that's because they're an exchange student, but no, they actually know how to do math and they know how to read and write.
I saw that too.
No, go ahead.
I've seen that with my cousins who are here from the Netherlands, and their children who were young adults, their English was impeccable for, having 3, they studied 3 languages, English, Dutch, and French or German.
Right.
I've long wondered why we've strayed away. I really have. I've heard the arguments. I just can't quite buy into them, if I'm honest. Like why we don't just, I remember standing at the side of my desk. We would get up and stand and just recite the times tables. And I understand, like, again, I've heard the arguments against it, but that's a foundational skill to have that you can do in your brain. And then it leads to so many other things, in my opinion. To your point, Joanne, I think that you were getting at with these building blocks that education should be providing so that by the time you encounter these students, there are not remedial writing and math courses. So there we are. Anyway, interesting times in education as always. Joanne McNeish, John Hendry, and Yvonne Fernandez are with us. We'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about municipal budgets. The region is dealing with its here. Joanne, I know there's always conversation around budgets in the Toronto area. We'll get your perspective on the municipal budget as well. Municipalities are trying to do an awful lot without a whole lot of income. We'll talk about it coming up on our Friday 4 Roundtable. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Don't you get tired? Don't you feel you got a lot to do? Do you wonder if it's all for you? Can you give it all to me?
Oh, that's the question that Miles and Lenny would like answered. Can you give it all to me? Miles and Lenny for Sue on this All Request Friday Giving Songs edition. Fridays also mean our Friday 4 Roundtable, discussing the big stories of the week. Yvonne Fernandez, Joanne McNeish, and John Hendry with us this morning. Yvonne, you get first crack at topic number 2. It is budget season, and the region is hard at it. What would you like to see in a regional budget, Yvonne?
Oh, 5% increase is, in my opinion, too high. We heard yesterday about the number of people that are going to the food bank. We heard yesterday again about the cost for a family of 4 is $17,000 more per year. I hope I'm not misquoting.
17,000 total, 1,000 more per year. Yes.
Yeah. And so a couple of things came to mind. One, and I know we all have the right to make money, but the profits that the grocery stores are making is astronomical. Maybe a little bit of kindness, a little less profit might not be. Oh, sorry, we're talking about budget. Sorry, went off on another tangent. But nevertheless, keeping that in mind, region, maybe one of the things that I think we have to look at is some of the extras, right? And you talked about this, Mike, when the word came down that Doug Ford was going to maybe do some amalgamation and get rid of some of the layers that we have. And I think Barb, who called in, had some very, very valid points about the duplication. So maybe we need to do a little bit of attrition. Maybe we need to take a look at some of the duplication. I mean, I never want people to lose jobs, but I think we are very, very fat in both all of our municipalities in terms of staffing. And when I look at every year, there's more staff being added on. That's a cost that why can't we try to do more with a little bit of less right now so that the taxpayers are not struggling? And sure, they break it out so it doesn't sound so bad, but I think that's where I'd like to see them go. Yes, I would love to see continued transit expansion, but I'm not a fan of LRT into Cambridge. I really think we should be using rapid buses. It's more versatile, it's more flexible, and they can pivot on a bad day, which LRT cannot.
All right, Joanne, I'll swing it over to you. Municipal budget season. What's most important to you in a city's budget?
Cost cutting. I'm a fan of get rid of the Christmas tree, the menorah, the flagging, get rid of all the extra little things that if you have a personal budget, you start cutting all the non-essentials. Get rid of travel, no disrespect for counselors, so that we need to say, what is it that a city needs to do? That a city needs to, again, I'm sorry, my age is showing, back to basics. They need to be fixing roads. They need to be doing the jobs that I can't do, and they need to stop doing things. So we've had a freeze on fare for the TTC, but we have all this building going on and huge cost overruns. We need to, and this will be, I know people will be very cross at me, but we need to stop subsidizing businesses. We need to start saying there's just certain things the city can afford to do. because the City of Toronto is not only looking at the property taxes, but they're actually looking at, we have the land transfer tax, but we pay twice. We pay double. So there's the provincial land transfer tax and there's the city land transfer tax. So we've had lots of discussion about the price of housing in Toronto. Now the proposition is over a certain amount, the property tax is going to go up. And so if I'm a developer, I'm going to make sure that I'm building homes either underneath that property tax number, but all you're doing with all of these levies on different groups of people is you're creating people wanting to build loopholes into the system to avoid that little bit of tax. So for me, it's stop all the non-essential stuff. It doesn't create unity. In fact, it's highly disruptive. And I know people love things like the skating party at City Hall. We can't afford parties anymore. We put in the skating rink, and we have a lot of skating rinks, and I'm a skater. But maybe we have to start saying, if you skate, you get to pay a certain charge for it, et cetera, et cetera. Like, we've got to stop now doing all the things as if we have money to do it. And the thing with Toronto, the other thing I will say, we pay quite low property tax for a number of years because of the size of the city. I guess they figured we have lots of people, so we can pay a lower rate. The other thing that has to start happening, unfortunately, is the city wants to hold the price on everything and raise the taxes in other places. But in the end, we need to come up to the same price as what everyone else pays. So I have friends in Ottawa who pay more absolute tax than I do in Toronto, and that doesn't make sense to me. So I think now we don't want Doug Ford getting into it because he doesn't make good decisions, but it does seem to need less money. And no disrespect to councillors, stop giving pensions after 5 years. That's the kind of overlays that have just gotten ridiculous. Sorry, guys.
No,
because I really admire the work, but no more extras.
I can get behind a meat and potatoes approach. I really can, Joanne. I think that we have gotten to a point at all levels of government where they are doing way too many things. Get back to the basics. I'm with you on that for sure. But John, I should shut up because it's your turn.
Well, I couldn't help but listen to Joanne's points, and the first thing I thought of was, I'm sure glad I'm not in Toronto where we can waste $1 million on changing street signs and then go with our cap in hand to the government and ask them for money. So, I guess in a perfect world, Toronto is the center of, but anyway, I digress. With us, I know there was an article regarding garbage pickup. And I think, if you're going to try to get people to your downtown core, you're trying to get visitors down, the last thing you want is garbage sitting there for a week. So I think it's important. It might be costing a little more, but I think it's important that the garbage pickup is on a regular weekly basis, not a bi-weekly basis. I would like to see, and this sounds terrible, I'm spending a lot of money here, but I would like to see more policing. Because we all have to be honest, our cities are becoming unsafe by the year. We have more people, we have more violence in our city. I've never seen so many major crimes in our city in years. So we do need to approve that police budget. I think it's important to get more feet on the street. And the other thing is the transportation. I think we have a long way to go to provide adequate services to the people that have disabilities, to seniors. It's very difficult for them to live a normal life when they have to schedule around the routine of the bus rather than the bus around their routine. So but going back to some of the comments Joanne and Yvonne both made, we waste a lot of money on duplication. I still, and I said that the last time, we seem to waste a lot of money on duplication with counselors. Like, I have no clue what a regional counselor does. I know when they retire after a few years, they get a really good pension. And I know after 30 years on the school board, trustees were never allowed, no matter how many years you put in, you were never allowed to be involved in OMERS. And so those are wastes of money. And my final point, and I have two sons that moved out of the region because of the LRT. Their taxes went up so high that the one lives out in Brantford now, and the other one lives in Goderich. So I agree. I don't think Cambridge is quite the city that needs an LRT. I mean, all it does is goes down the center of the city. You still have to find a way to get there. So, I think we have to hold it for a while until things start to settle down and maybe a little more money come into the community.
It's going to be an expensive proposition, to be sure. John Hendry, Yvonne Fernandez, Joanne McNeish with us on the Friday Four Roundtable this morning. Yvonne touched on it a moment ago. We'll do a deeper dive after this update from the 570 News Center. How do we deal with the rising cost of food? Maybe the grocers should give a little break to the consumers. At least I think that's where Yvonne was going. We'll pick it up on the Friday Four Roundtable here on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Everybody talking about bagging, tagging, bagging, tagging, bagging and tagging. This is a bag, this is a all we are saying is give peace a chance. All we are saying is give peace a chance.
That's a message that continues to resonate long after John and Yoko sang it. Clive wanted to hear Give Peace a Chance on this All Request Friday Giving Songs edition. So there you go, Clive. Thanks for the request. Get yours in by dropping me an email to mike@570news.com. On Fridays, we also have our Friday Four Roundtable, a panel of distinguished guests helping us work our way through the big stories of the week. Joanne, you are distinguished. That doesn't mean anything but distinguished. Don't you laugh at me.
Well, but more importantly, I thought that was a perfect song, Give Peace a Chance, because even though we disagree on this panel, we do it respectfully in order to illuminate the different points of view. So right back at you, Mike.
Thank you. That's what this is all about, and we love it. Joanne McNeish is an associate professor of marketing at the Ted Rogers School of Business, Toronto Metropolitan University. John Hendry, professional speaker, author, and retired public school board trustee. And Yvonne Fernandez, the president of the Dune Pioneer Community Center, with us on the roundtable today. Yvonne, you get first crack at this next one, and you alluded to it previously, that food price report we got yesterday. The average family of four, we are told, just under $1,000. That's what they'll see by way of increase to food costs next year, 4 to 6%. That's an increase of. And for the year, the average family will spend more than $17,500. How do we deal with this rising cost of food, Yvonne?
Well, I was alluding to it in our previous segment. I was talking to my son who lives out west, and actually the first thing he said is the profits of the grocery stores is really astronomical. And, there's nothing wrong with making money. I mean, that's kind of where we are in this society. But there's got to be a way for them to take a little less profit. And, I've heard this other times too, where developers want to get their per forma and businesses want to get their profits. But small business are trying to balance. I don't know where I heard that they were trying to cut back a little bit so that the consumer that was buying their product would have a better opportunity to purchase that product. And there's always that give and take. So these large conglomerates could certainly take a 1% hit on their profits. I don't think that that's such a bad thing. The other thing I really do feel, and I've probably even more so over the last year have come to the realization how very important it is for us to cook our own food. Stop buying processed food, people. Not just for your health, but it's so expensive. And yes, I know that lettuce is ridiculously expensive, but there are lots of other products out there. And I would love to see more organizations and even like our community center offering a cooking class. How do you take a chicken You eat the chicken one day for whatever, you cook it, you eat it. Then the next day, maybe you have some sandwiches. And day 3, you make it into a soup. And then you have another day of food. And maybe you buy some carrots that look a little wilted, or maybe some celery that's not past its prime. Chop that all up, and guess what? You've got a great meal. And I think this is, my mom was really, really, that's the Dutch in me, I'm sure, really thrifty and in how she would stretch, because she was a single mom with 4 kids, how she would stretch food. And sometimes we had boiled potatoes, spinach, and our protein was eggs. And look at me, I'm looking pretty healthy despite all the other things that are going on this year. But we never starved. We never did without. And it was just simple. And maybe as consumers and as parents and caregivers, maybe we should go back to a little bit more simple meals. And I know that's easier said than done.
It's an interesting point because there's an entire network devoted to food. And that, I think, gives us a completely different perspective on what goes on a plate. It's a good point. John Hendry, your thoughts on how we deal with this rising cost of food?
I have to admit, Yvonne made a point that they would have to shoot me before I would eat leftovers. I'm sorry, I'm not a leftover kind of person. But that being said, I think one of the things we have to start doing is we have to start supporting our local farmers and our local growers and start buying more. And I know we hear it every day, buy more Canadian, because the more Canadian we buy, the less we have to worry about tariffs and quality and that type of thing. So I think we have to start doing that. But the other point is, I mean, you go into Walmart as an example, which is supposed to be cheaper than anywhere else. And I've noticed, because of things I do the shopping, and I've noticed that every week prices seem to be creeping up, but just a little. So most consumers don't notice it. Then all of a sudden, that price is really high. And what I keep thinking is, why are the prices going up when there's less staff? There's less people there to help, to look for advice on things. And so the money's going somewhere. And I really struggle with, why does one thing at Walmart cost $10.97 and it's $16.97 at Sobeys? So somewhere, I think, I don't want to see restrictions on how much profit a store can make, but there's got to be some oversight when they're gouging the public. And I think that's missing right now.
I got caught. I thought the purchasing power at Walmart was always getting me a better price. And then I realized I wasn't getting as good a price as I thought. Same thing you're talking about, John. And also, I love leftovers. I would eat leftovers every day if I could. But Joanne McNeish, how do we deal with this rising cost of food?
So I guess we've forgotten about that little thing called COVID. And to connect to the previous story, crime. So when we look at these big stores, grocery has never been a profitable business. Their profit comes from other elements of their business, their banking business, their credit card, durable goods. So in this case, these companies, if they decided to get out of the grocery business, it would not change their profit. It would change their revenue, but it wouldn't change their profit by much. So they have increasing costs. So every grocery store I go into now has at least one security guard. They've now got certain items. Now in Toronto, this may be a Toronto thing, but the pharmacies, so Shoppers Drug Mart, owned by the Weston family, things are now put behind glass, increasing restrictions on access. So you have to get a salesperson, of which there aren't many, to come over and unlock it for you. And I'm talking about razor blades, for example. So these stores have got increasing costs on the grocery business, and it's just not very profitable. It never has been. It's a basic sort of business. What's interesting in terms of that report, they actually said fruits and vegetables, the absolute cost has gone down. They reported those as being more cost efficient, which is fascinating. Some of the other elements, it's other things that are more expensive. So I think the solution is to say to a company you can't take profit is, for example, to drive these last remaining Canadian companies out of the grocery business, and then we'll be left with the Whole Foods of the world, who's owned by Amazon, and then things will be astronomical. So I think if just the grocery business, they are doing their best to manage that. The other thing I've noticed is there's way too much choice. We don't need the last count, because I have nothing else to do in my life, so I'll go into a grocery store. My favorite thing is how many brands of cookies are there? Do we, not even brands, but brands and flavors? There are 75, just in a small local store, 75 brands and or flavors of cookies. We don't need that much choice. And we also don't need fruit in the off season. So back to this issue of local fruits and vegetables. It used to be what was in season is what we have. So grocery stores will say consumers demand the choice. I would say, well, if you're going to offer it to me, maybe you charge more for the out of season goods. So force me. Apples are really a great bargain right now. Many of them are local, but it's a retraining of generations, because I grew up with when it was available, that's when we had it. So raspberries are still my most favorite thing. They only used to be available. It was literally 2 weeks. So we would eat raspberries like crazy. And then back to things like gardens. Like, I don't know about you, but everybody in my neighborhood had a garden. But again, it's this funny thing of like, we walked away from all these amazing values. That's how a family was able to afford a house, because they didn't buy much. They didn't go out to a restaurant. There was no hardship. It was, so we've raised a society where the expectation is they order it in. And then we talk about profit from delivery. Delivery is a very profitable business for these companies. And so we, as consumers, have to say, stop buying the alternative services, buy less, waste less. Sorry about this, John, but leftovers. But it doesn't have to look the same way. I'm really lucky. I have my mom's old book, and the things that she could do with anything. Yeah. 5 days of a roast beef, family of 6, all the way to Thursday, Friday. Now, you may be a bit sick by Thursday or Friday, but it still looked different. Like, how did she do that magic? But the expectation was variety was not, endless change and variety was not part of the way you got great food. So it's retraining generations now.
Yeah, Yvonne said something similar there, where, it may be the same thing 3 nights in a row, but you don't starve. You got the necessities there for sure. Joanne McNeish, Yvonne Fernandez, John Hendry with us on the Friday 4 Roundtable. Final break. When we come back, an interesting discussion that was sparked on the show this week around politicians and social media. Should they be able, the politicians, allowed to block constituents on social media? We'll talk about it with our guests next on the Mike Farwell Show. 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
We've come to the time in the season when family and friends gather near to offer a prayer of thanksgiving for blessings we've known through the year.
Little bit of Johnny Cash and the Thanksgiving prayer for our good friend who always says God bless, Francis, and his lovely wife Sherry in Listowel. It is the All Request Friday Giving Songs edition, Thanksgiving prayer, Johnny Cash for Francis. Fridays also mean our roundtable discussion of the week's big stories. Yvonne Fernandez, John Hendry, Joanne McNeish with us. Question is, and it prompted an interesting discussion on the show this week. I'm curious to what our panelists will have to say. Should politicians be allowed to block constituents on social media? John Hendry, what do you think?
No, absolutely not. When you run for any office, you accept the fact that you're living in a fishbowl. And, some of your decisions and some of your comments are not going to be accepted by many people. And so you have to accept the fact that you're going to be criticized for that. I think there's a point, however, that if you get someone that's threatening or abusive, then of course they should have the right to block them. But by and large, there aren't many people that go to that extreme. I don't believe. At least I hope not. So no, I think when you're a politician, you've accepted the fact that you're going to get criticized or you're going to get questioned, and you have to accept that.
That was my initial reaction too, John. You're a public figure. You accept life in the fishbowl as you describe it. And then when I thought about it a little more, I got more around to that last part you mentioned there, because some of the stuff, especially in the online world, oh my goodness. And then why should you have to tolerate that aspect? But it is interesting as a public figure. Joanne, what do you think?
So I would absolutely bow to people who have been in public life, and I'm not really in public life, but as a professor, I too can face the online commentary, and it's very, very mild in terms of what a student that's unhappy or didn't like the way I ran the course. So there is some public dialogue around me. And it actually makes me so sad, because I want to talk to them and explain why I did, or there's no recourse, but I thought that's just a taste of what politician might face. I think that, again, I would bow to people who've been in public life, but I think now the level of the discussion has gotten terrible, and I think we're actually, it's so bad in my mind that it's stopping good people from running for public life. You have to be someone that literally doesn't care about people's opinion, and I really want my politicians to be someone who cares. And so I think two things. If it's truly a constituent, they have so many ways that they can talk to you. Anonymous, it used to be anonymous letter, and there's always been a certain degree of disagreement in a nasty way. But the fact that anyone could be anywhere in the world reaching out to you on your social media when your intention is to communicate what you're doing, it isn't to enter into somebody saying awful egregious things or spreading a lot of lies, because the dialogue used to be very immediate. In other words, they could get the pulse by phone anonymously, by mail anonymously, but it was restricted. Now someone can literally drive thousands of people to your social media, collapse the weight of it, get you blocked and reported, and it's just because they disagree with your opinion. And again, this, just briefly, I've been reading articles on high and low trust. We used to be a high trust society. We're literally falling into low trust, which means we now need to have more and more safeguards. So the security these people need, the waste of their staff time in blocking it, to the point where I think, sadly, even the good politicians I'm not even going to look at social media. So this tool that was supposed to be all about great engagement has descended into, I just ignore it, because imagine facing, and I don't know how anybody's in politics in any way, shape, or form, or in the public eye. Mike, you're in the public eye. How the pressure of that, it exists unless you don't care. And if you don't care, then that to me is not necessarily the best politician. I want them caring about the issues. And I've met so many wonderful people who've been in politics and at various levels on this show. And I think they're such amazing people, but we're driving them out because the level of this is, I think, much worse than anyone suspects. But again, I'm an amateur here in terms of this topic.
Yvonne,
I always thought as a politician that number one, you had to have a thick skin. And number two, I developed a philosophy after a while that there's no point getting upset when people send you things or they disagree with you vehemently, because 50% of the people that will never agree with you, and the other half could care less. And so once you've accepted that as a politician, you can move on and do your work.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah. And Yvonne, you spent time in public life, same as John. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, it wasn't so bad when I was on council, and I know it's gotten a lot worse. And I really feel for those people who are trying, whose mission as a politician is to do for their community. And it's a hard job because you can never please everybody. And I think that's one of the things you have to remember is you're not going to please everybody. But if you're being honest and truthful and ethical, then I think you can explain to most logical people, but there's always that small portion who are not. One of the things that always comes to mind to me, and I would never have said this to a constituent, but I'll say it right now because I'm not a politician, is, did you vote? Oh, you didn't vote. Goodbye. And that sounds really terrible because everybody has a right and has a reason maybe that they couldn't get to the polls. But if you really, really, truly care about your community, take the 15 minutes it might take to go and voice your opinion. The fact that only a third of our community votes our politicians in means that's the only voice that is really being heard. And then no wonders 70% get angry and frustrated and violent and aggressive is because, well, you're not listening to me. Well, no, because maybe if you had made your vote known, that maybe that person may not actually be in office. So, it really goes to a lot of different components, but I think people are less trusting. And Joanne, you just said that. We are less trusting of our politicians. We are less trusting of our government officials. And does that stem from COVID? Maybe. But I think there's a time when we have to get past that as an excuse and generally take a breath before we spew anger and resentment. And remember, I always said to these people, I'm a human being, just like you are. I could be your sister, I could be your mother, I could be your aunt. And how would you feel if that was your relative who was getting all this aggressive and terrible comments to their social media?
I like Joanne's point earlier. There are so many other ways you can contact a politician, and you choose these online forums, which are filled with hazards, to be sure. We're fresh out of time. A great conversation, as always, around the table this morning. Yvonne Fernandez, John Hendry, Joanne McNeish, thank you all very much for joining us, and enjoy the weekend ahead.
Thank you. Take care, everybody.
Open Line Radio with Free Phones Friday, directly ahead on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Danny wanted to hear a little bit of Sammy Hagar and Give to Live. Your request is our command on an All Request Friday here on the program. It is the Giving Songs edition. Every week we put a theme around our All Request Friday, and this week just so happened to be Giving Tuesday, and so here you are with your Giving Songs. Give to Live, Sammy Hagar, All Request Friday, Giving Songs edition. Fridays also mean free phones, not the kind we actually give away. We're not giving phones away. We are, however, opening up our phone lines to hear directly from you. It is one of our most popular features. It's our final hour together of the week. So let's hear from you. 519-570-2545, star 570, and 1-800-570-5715. Free phones means the topics are free for you to choose. We can reflect on an issue of the day, or you can bring forward something that you'd like to be the issue of the day. The conversation begins with Paul from Guelph. Good afternoon, Paul.
Yabba dabba doo. Thanks, Mike. How's it going?
It's going great. How's it going with you?
Oh, it's going great.
Good.
Earlier, you mentioned Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer movie, the old claymation classic.
You were listening earlier. That was even before 9. I was indeed mentioning that.
So just, if you're going to watch it this year, it's very entertaining, and it provides a lot of talking points for young people because it was made in a different time, even maybe before your time.
What are you trying to say, maybe before my time? I heard what you said there.
So I'm breaking up here. There's an Easter egg I want you to keep your eyes open for. At the very end of the movie, when they're giving all the misfit toys out of the sleigh, all of the misfit toys get a little parasol and they float down gently to their happily ever after Christmas destiny, except for one toy. One toy is not given a parasol. And I'm going to suggest it's a little bit of a sketchy situation. I'm not going to say the M word, but there's definitely some foul play here. It's the bird who can't fly, he swims. The elf looks at him, looks at the parasol, tosses the the misfit toy over the side of the sleigh. Oh my goodness!
Wait,
that's a little Easter egg.
Okay, I will pay very close attention to this.
And it's during the final credits when they're giving away all the misfit toys. So it's at the very, very end.
So they just let that poor bird fall to its death.
Yeah, it
presumably.
has to. It has to find the power of flight with the power of Christmas at the very last second. I hope it does.
You know what? Let's go with that hope, okay, and assume that it does.
So have a very Merry Christmas.
Thanks, Paul. You too. It's great to hear from you. That's funny. Just before 9 every day, I join Christine Clark on All News Mornings to talk about what's coming up on this show today. And she had on such a lovely sweater, I had to comment on it. It had Rudolph, and I forget even the name that she called the Abominable Snowman, whatever that character was on the old claymation. I haven't watched it in so long. I loved it, of course. Who doesn't love all these Christmas specials, right? But anyway, we talked about that Bumble, I think she said. Regardless, that's what Paul is referring to. I've never noticed before the toy that gets tossed over sleigh as opposed to overboard without its parasol to float gently back to the earth and its new Christmas home. Who knew? And now I'm going to have to pay attention to it because I'm definitely watching it again this year. Definitely. Poor Rudolph anyway. Like, there are so many themes underlying that story, aren't there? Oh, you're only accepted into our group because your nose can light the way? So we only accept you when we need you? Come on with your coming on. Jody, you're on Free Phones Friday. Good afternoon.
Hi, Mike. Long time no talk.
It's been forever, Jody. What have you been doing?
How you doing,
I'm good. I'm good. How are you doing?
Good.
Good.
You were talking about the rising cost of inflation, the previous segment.
We sure were.
I'm going to say it again. I think I've said this before more than once, but the poor are suffering. The low-income people, or the poor, whatever you want to call it, are suffering the most out of all these rising costs. And but some people don't care about the poor, but some people do care about the poor. And I care about the poor. I'm one of the people that care about the poor, so because I'm poor myself. And I'm not the only person that's poor, but we need more kindness in the world and sky than we have.
All right, Jody. Thank you very much for the call. That typically is Jody's theme, that we need more kindness, and she is absolutely always looking out for the less fortunate, and that's very much appreciated. I think most of us truly are of that mind, that we want to help wherever and however we can. The challenge is becoming, of course, it's getting more and more difficult to do that because we are finding our very own budgets stretched pretty darn thin with the cost of living these days. I don't know if you heard this story on All News Mornings today, but I could not help but get a chuckle out of it because you know how I feel about curbside loose leaf collection around this region. I think it's ridiculous that we still engage in this annual behavior. I think the service should be canceled tomorrow, and we'll take a tax break. But that aside, I just think for a variety of reasons, it's the goofiest thing that we started to do and that we continue to do, given how much we know today. And the city of Cambridge said, we're sorry, but we were only able to get about to 70% of the areas that need leaf collection, and then the snow came. So now all of those leaves that got raked to the side of the road either got pushed in front of your driveway by the plow or are still waiting there, buried, for the city to come by and try to come back and collect. I think it's just because we know exactly when the leaves are going to fall and when the snow is going to fall, and we got to stop doing this goofy service. We've got to, but that's what Cambridge is dealing with right now. And another big story that we reported first yesterday afternoon on 570 News Radio, and I assume that you heard it, but just by way of reminder in case you didn't, I've got some theories on this, but how about the water concerns in the region? Little known tidbit here. I was once, for a time, the honorary chair of the Children's Groundwater Festival here in the region. And it was an awesome event that I was exposed to when I was invited to be a part of it. Elementary school students from around the region come to the Dune Pioneer Village area. Do we still call it that? I think we do. At the Ken Sealing Museum on Homer Watson. and they learn all about the water in this community, how most of our water comes from groundwater sources, how to conserve water, all of these different things. We'd have a lot of fun together, play some games. I thought it was fantastic. And we are understandably proud of that status as a community that has so much groundwater as a resource. And now here we are getting the news from the region yesterday that, hang on a second, but our capacity has been diminished. We're not being asked yet to reduce our usage by any stretch. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with the quality of the water coming out of the tap. But given what are the various pressures that have been noted, the growth in the community, the infrastructure that is beginning to age, we are facing a water quantity problem. And I'm raising an eyebrow on this one, thinking, wow, I could not imagine ever having arrived here in this region. But I'll tell you what, there's this big old project, and I do mean big, and we would talk about this back in the days where I was the honorary chair of the Children's Groundwater Festival, and we're so proud of our groundwater sources, and we're talking about conservation and preservation because, you see, we never wanted to rely on that pipeline thing. Not an oil pipeline, but a pipeline for water from here to Lake Erie. This has been in the backs of minds for the better part of almost 3 decades, I'll bet you, for a very long time in this community. And the minute I heard this story yesterday, what do you mean there's a potential supply issue with our water? First place my mind went after, I'm like, wow, it's kind of concerning news, isn't it? I'm trying to hesitate using frightening, but I find it a little bit unsettling anyway. And then the next place my mind went is, here comes the pipeline. Been talking about it for so long, and we're trying to resist it, and people are saying we don't need it. Well, and don't even get me started on what that's going to cost, but how about a pipeline to Lake Erie to serve the water needs of this community? Just imagine that. Back to the phones here on Free Phones Friday for Chris. Good afternoon, Chris.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Not too bad at all.
Good.
I called in a couple of days. I think it was Tuesday when you had the police chief on.
Yes.
So I want to talk about driver instructors. I think a lot of bad drivers are on the road because they have been licensed by the instructor. I think there's some accountability here where the instructor has to actually take accountability before they give these people their license. I am a forklift driver supervisor, and I have so much resume about forklift drivers who has a license, and they come in and they don't even have a clue what a forklift looks like, what a forklift entails, like to do an inspection, to get on, do it, even to start the forklift, but they have a license. And the license is coming from one person in Brampton.
All right. No, I'm not going to let you will not say the name, but I'll just leave you on that point. But I will say you are identifying something that I brought up recently in a conversation about the state of our roads and the seeming absence of skill when it comes to operating a motor vehicle, to say nothing of a forklift. There has been very good investigative journalism done around driving schools for transport trucks, and there have been issues exposed there. Look, we know in this province, we have had such a backlog at driver training or drive test centers that I don't think people are getting adequately tested before being granted a license. And forget about the training that they got from when I was a kid. I don't know how many there were, but a handful maybe of options when it came to driver training schools. And now all of a sudden they seem to be popping up all over the place. And I don't know, but oh, Nelly, it does not seem to me that we demand the same standards before we put people onto the roads behind the controls of a machine that can do a whole lot of damage, including cause death. It concerns me. It does. And the system is just so vast and, quite frankly, unwieldy at this point that I don't know where we begin to clean it up, but I think it's absolutely an underappreciated issue on our roads. This is Free Phones Friday. Talk about the issues of the day or the issue like Chris wanted to make the issue of the day. Phone lines open to you on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
There comes a time when we heed a certain call, when the world must come together as one. There are people dying. Oh, and it's time to lend a hand to life, the greatest gift of all.
This is Mary's idea of a giving song. Hey, the artists gave, for sure, to remind us that we are the world. By request on this All Request Friday, Giving Songs edition. You want to hear your favorite song that somehow connects to give or giving? That's the theme on All Request Friday this week, because this past Tuesday, don't you know, was Giving Tuesday. Fridays, along with being all request, also mean free phones from noon until 1. And let's get right back to those phones, hear more from you. That's what it's all about. Andrew is with us. Good afternoon, Andrew.
Good afternoon, Mike. How are you today?
I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks.
Good.
This is a very sore topic for me when I hear you guys speaking about the licensing. I was so anxious to call in. It seems years ago, it's like our government was almost in control of who got to get a license. And I don't know when it changed, but now we have privatized trainers. Are they really accredited trainers? I'm going to say something I hope isn't going to offend anybody, but I noticed that the majority of the licensed trainers are not even from Canada.
I don't know that you know that for sure, though, Andrew. I think you're making a pretty big assumption.
I am.
Okay.
I'll give you that. True. I got 35 years in the trucking industry, and I had to go to school 2 years ago because I broke my back and I'm no longer able to drive a truck, and I had to do some upgrading. I graduated my grade 12 English, and I had to give a report of my choice, so I chose about accredited and non-accredited driver training places all over Ontario. There was more than 500 illegal operating tractor-trailer driver training places. And that's true. Accredited, reported, and everything. Anyway, I can't fathom. Now I work at a car dealership, the amount of people that can't even really read or speak English when they come in to get their cars fixed. I'm sitting outside the Service Ontario right now. I do this every day at noon hour. And the amount of people that can't even communicate about their insurance, their ownership, and everything, but yet they're driving.
Well, I don't think passing an English literacy test is a prerequisite for operating a motor vehicle.
But it should be.
Why?
Well, you should be able to read the sign.
Fair enough. Listen, Andrew, I hear where you're coming from, and I hope you're feeling better after the back injury, but thanks for being a trucker, taking care of, moving those goods around for as long as you did.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Mike. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too. As I said before, there has been some great investigative journalism done on this front, and Andrew, I don't know the specific number that Andrew cites, but there's no question that, look, the system is so unwieldy in terms of the number of people looking to obtain licenses, the number of places where those licenses can be obtained, the accreditation system that those apparent licensees, licensors are going through, the drive test centers. Like it's ripe for abuse, right? And you're onto something here if you are the trainer of people to do a job that is very much in demand. Oh, you want to drive a truck? If I set up a truck driver training school and move people through it. I take their money on the way out the door or in the door, and then I put them out onto the road, and they're no longer my problem. The system has become ripe for abuse because it is just such a massive system. I believe there is a systemic problem here. I'm not going to sit here and claim to know the answer to it, but checks and balances had best be brought back into place because it's getting increasingly dangerous out there on the roads. And I'm not trying to fearmonger, but we've been there. I drive them every day too. It's not a whole lot of fun anymore, except at 6 a.m. when I'm on my way to work. It's pretty good out there. I don't mind it then. Not too many people. Anyway, it's tough. And I don't think Andrew is far off the mark with his concern, especially considering his history as a professional transport truck driver. We are coming up on your 12:30 update from the 570 News Center. We were able to award this morning the third of our early bird prizes in the 570 News Radio Tree of Hope 50/50 raffle in support of Family and Children's Services of Waterloo Region. I'm telling you, that's got a guaranteed $50,000 jackpot in it. And I want to give you not only a chance to win that jackpot, but to win our next early bird prize of $2,500. And this is all in support of a great cause. So I'll explain more of that coming up on Free Phones Friday here on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
And battered around, been saying up and I've been shut down. You're the best thing that I've ever found. Handle me with care. Reputation's changeable, situation's tolerable, but baby you're adorable.
It is an all-request Friday Giving Songs edition. I think that was it right there. I still have some love to give. I'm not the best with lyrics, but I usually get the choruses. And Suzanne, Farwell's Force member number 183, wanted to hear Handle with Care by the Traveling Wilburys. Again, it's an all-request Friday Giving Songs edition, because this week was the week that featured Giving Tuesday. You know, that day after Black Friday and Cyber Monday, upon which we are encouraged to give a little bit back. And by the way, Give a Little Bit by Supertramp, by far the most requested song on this All Request Friday Giving Songs edition. 4 of you asked to hear that very song. If you want to get a request in before our day is done, you can email me, Mike at 570news.com. We are going to give somebody a whole heck of a lot of money. In fact, we've already been handing out some money. I'm sure you are well aware of the 570 News Radio Tree of Hope campaign. It's a 50/50 raffle in support of Family and Children's Services of Waterloo Region. There is a guaranteed, it will be no less than $50,000 coming your way if you are the lucky winner. And something tells me, I've just got a hunch about these sorts of things. Something tells me that the jackpot will grow even beyond that. But there's a guaranteed minimum of $50,000 in that jackpot right now. And we've also been giving away some early bird prizes last week. And I met the fellow, he was in here this morning picking up his $1,000 check, Doug, who also got 2 tickets to see the Jonas Brothers in Hamilton. Just this morning, we gave away another $1,000, and this time 2 tickets to see Ed Sheeran in Toronto this summer. Congratulations to Sharon G., who pulled that one off. She bought her tickets early, and she was in on that early bird draw. The good thing is, when you're in on the early bird draw, you get your tickets early, you can win an early bird prize, and you're still in for the overall jackpot. So remember, this is all in support of Family and Children's Services of Waterloo Region. Easy way to get tickets. You just go online to FACS5050.com. F for family, A for and, C for children, S for services, FACS5050.com. You can get tickets, 5 numbers, starting for as little as $10, and then you're in for that guaranteed $50,000 jackpot, which is only going to grow from here, and our next early bird prize. I mean, get in early for the next early bird prize, which will be awarded next Friday morning, $2,500 cash, just like that from our friends at Hefner Lexus Toyota. I'm joined now by Jill Stoddart, who's the executive director of the Family and Children's Services Waterloo Region Foundation. This is the charitable arm that is the beneficiary of the other half of this 50-50 raffle, right? So $50,000 so far. We're going to make sure it climbs even higher. That's what this is all about. It's fun for us to participate, and we're also helping out a very worthy organization that supports families in our community. And Jill, I know this is, an exciting day. We're able to put out that early bird prize, another one that's our third one that's now been awarded, and we keep watching that jackpot grow as well.
Yeah, it's actually growing. Yeah, we'll see the numbers start to change on the dashboard soon because we're almost at, the guaranteed prize is, guaranteed pot is $100,000, which means $50,000 prize. And we're at about 95,000 in that true pot now. So we'll start to see the prize numbers rise shortly, which is very, very exciting.
It certainly is. So congratulations to Sharon for winning our third early bird prize already. My goodness gracious.
I wanted and couldn't win. So Sharon, if you need somebody to go to that concert with you, here I am.
You're an Ed Sheeran fan, are you?
I love him.
So do we. We actually got to see him in Pittsburgh a couple of years ago, my wife and I. So
I'm hoping maybe there's a gift under the tree for me to go see Ed Sheeran.
Sharon got $1,000 too, so maybe she can find a little something for.
I think that's against the rules, but
there's no bribing here. There's no kickbacks. But congratulations to Sharon, who got the $1,000 cash prize and tickets to see Ed Sheeran in Toronto next summer. That's the third early bird prize awarded. Another early bird prize already announced. How about $2,500 in cold hard cash from our friends at Hefner Lexus Toyota? Get your tickets now, FACS5050.com. And even if you win the early bird prize, like Sharon just did today, you're in for that jackpot. Jill already said it's guaranteed to be a $50,000 prize for you, but we know that number is going to climb. And the important thing to remember here, Jill, this is all in support of the Family and Children's Services Waterloo Region Foundation and the great work that you do. One of the pieces I wanted to highlight today is something called the Resiliency Project. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Resilience Project is born from a really simple but powerful idea. When we strengthen families and communities, we prevent harm before it happens. So over the past 9 years, this vision has come to life through the work of more than 14 organizations in the community across Waterloo Region, each bringing their unique strengths to the table, all offering programs and services to children, youth, and families that prevent harm before it happens and strengthens communities, which is just an amazing collaboration.
When you look at the impact of the Resilience Project, what do the numbers tell us?
Yeah, well, this past year alone, this group of organizations ran more than 230 programs designed to build resilience and a sense of belonging in our community. These programs range from art-based initiatives that help children express emotions safely, to sports and recreation that foster confidence and teamwork, mental health supports that reduce stress and strengthen family bonds. We also host family-friendly events, mentorship programs, and culturally grounded activities that make every family feel supported and seen, and the numbers tell a powerful story. So last year alone, 500 children, more than 2,000 youth, 211 caregivers all participated in programs that nurture protective factors that reduce the risk for families and for children, and 722 families found connection and support through community events and capacity building initiatives. But beyond the numbers, there are our lives change. So like a newcomer family family that finds housing stability through the help of our system navigators that help them fight, an illegal eviction from a landlord, a young girl discovering the confidence of a sporting program, a caregiver learning strategies to manage stress and strengthen relationships. And these moments ripple outward, creating safer, healthier communities. And that's what we're really all about. At the foundation, we're all about prevention.
I love to hear this stuff because when we do a campaign like this, the 50-50 raffle is so much fun. We think about, wow, what am I going to do with $50,000 or more? Because, again, we know that jackpot's going to climb. But this gives us a real sense of the work that's being done by the Family and Children's Services Foundation. Because on the other end of this, as much fun as it is for us to think about winning that big prize, these funds really help you do important work in our community.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we look ahead, the needs are growing. Families are facing complex challenges. Housing instability is worse than ever, mental health stress, social isolation. And our work is really far from done. And it's these sorts of community activities where every single dollar that we give to children, youth, and families does not come from any government funding. The foundation gets zero government funding. Everything comes from donations. So it is really, events like this and the 50-50 that help fund these programs and services that really help families and keep kids safe.
Do you really feel almost a little bit like you're up at the North Pole helping to give out gifts? I mean, 3 early bird prizes now already. We know that the jackpot will be given out in a couple of weeks' time, but it must be fun and really fill the folks at the foundation at the holiday spirit.
Yeah, it is an amazing time of year. And, we have a donation room at the foundation where families are able to come and select gifts when they can't afford to buy a gift or they have to choose between maybe paying their rent and buying that special gift for their child. So we get a lot of delight at this time of year from seeing the joy that, some very little things can make in a family's life to make this time of year easier. So, yeah, it's a joyful time for us. And we're so thankful to have the partnership of the Rogers Radio Group to help us spread the word. So thank you, Mike, for all you're doing to help us.
Thank you, Jill, for the great work that you all do at Family and Children's Services and through the foundation as well. I appreciate you being here today.
Thanks so much and have a great day. It's going to be a beautiful sunny day today.
Jill Stoddart is the Executive Director of the Family and Children's Services Waterloo Region Foundation. That is the beneficiary of our 570 News Radio 50-50 raffle. And ticket sales are open this very minute. Our next early bird prize will be awarded next Friday morning. It's $2,500 cash from Hefner Lexus Toyota. And you win the early bird, you're still in for that guaranteed minimum $50,000 jackpot. But you heard Jill say we're getting pretty close to seeing that number move even higher. Of course it's going to move higher. You can get tickets anytime at facs5050.com. And this gives you a better idea of the support that we are providing. It's fun to play the raffle and think about spending all that money. In this case, you're getting the advantage of also helping an organization in our community. Get your tickets at facs5050.com. Free Phones Friday continues on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. All right. That's enough of that. Susan, I don't know. I just don't know on this All Request Friday. Giving Songs edition. Some Rick James and Give It To Me, Baby. Hey, your music choice is your music choice. And All Request Fridays are the days where we play your music choices. We add a theme to it because this week featured Giving Tuesday. This week's theme, Giving Songs. We always finish our show every week with a full hour of open lines. We call it Free Phones Friday, our last chance to chat before Monday. Got to keep it in for 48 hours unless you get it out this afternoon. Let's get right back to the phones. Dallas is with us. Good afternoon, Dallas.
Yes, sir. How are you now?
I am doing very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm not so bad.
Good.
Listen, I just wanted to call in and give you condemnation for all the how should I put it? The plus that you folks put in to the community. And I think that's why I was calling in earlier about the East Avenue Blue with their teddy bear toss, and then they had one up in London. You know, it got me to thinking, I got a 56-year-old teddy bear sitting on my bed that my grandmother made me out of an old fur coat that I want to donate to the East Avenue Blue. I think what you folks do with all your fundraising, and I bought tickets to your Farwell for Hire. I bought tickets for this particular incident. And, you know, it's just wonderful that some people actually want to give back to the community for a change.
Well, that's really nice of you to say, Dallas. Thank you for that. And remember, as generous as that is, a 56-year-old teddy bear that was made for you, when Teddy Bear Night comes around next year in Kitchener, they take new teddy bears. So that one is going to stay in your family, Dallas. But back to your point about the community awareness, fundraising, and good old-fashioned elbow grease that comes through this radio station into this region as a whole. That has always been one of my favorite parts about being involved in this business. And when I started out in this business, my first job, part-time, Brantford, so not too far away from here, but still not here. And then I traveled. I went out to British Columbia to get a full-time job, and I loved it. I've enjoyed every experience, believe you me. From there, it was to Thunder Bay for a spell. I was in Toronto for a little bit. And finally, around 2003, I got back onto the air full-time in this community. And with a brief exception where I went back to Toronto and did sports radio for a bit, my work has been here in my hometown. And I love this place. You know I love this place. And as long as I am here, one of the things I said when I had the opportunity to start hosting this show back in 2017, I promised then that we would be local. What happens in this region will be our first priority. I think we forget sometimes that we are the 10th largest municipality in all of Canada. So we talk about provincial issues, national issues, international issues, absolutely. But as the 10th largest municipality in the entire country, you bet what happens here is pretty darned important, like even beyond our borders, but absolutely within our borders. So we will always be local first. That's my promise to you from day one. It remains my promise as long as I am here. That's what we're going to be. And it reminds me also of a call we got earlier this week, and I'm forgetting the gentleman's name, and I'm sorry for that. But he wasn't thrilled with the later evening programming where it's American sports talk. And I get that. It's not everybody's cup of tea. We are in a space in this industry with consolidation, resources, all of these different things where we do not have live bodies 24 hours a day, 7 days a week anymore. It just doesn't work that way. And that's unfortunate, but it's reality. We do the very best we can with what we have left. But just going back to that point, when he expressed his concern with something he doesn't love about the radio station, a reminder to you that in 2 weeks, on Thursday, the 18th of December, this hour is going to be devoted to your year-end review of me and this show. And we'll take some ideas away for the holidays and maybe come back even better in 2026. But I want to get your feedback. It'll be a Roast the Host year-end review of Farwell on Thursday, December the 18th. So put a little pin in that. Keep it in mind. If there's something you need to let me know about that you don't love about the show, you'd like to see change, hey, whatever. You can tell me good stuff too if you want, but your chance to provide some feedback directly to us on that Thursday show, December the 18th, between noon and 1. Back to the phones here on Free Phones Friday. Rob Deutschman, not till the 18th of December, pal.
Michael, yeah, so we're away next week. But listen, I just want a quick call. I just came back from a very lovely ceremony, celebration of life for Ben Benninger, Ben was a former counselor in North Dumfries for many years, representing the Roseville area. Ben passed away recently, too young at age 68. Was at a ceremony at the Freeland Christ Gospel Center on Bleams Road. And I just wanted to take a moment to pass on, all the best to his family, his two beautiful boys, and just recognize that Ben contributed greatly to our community in many areas, heritage, many organizations and volunteer groups, and his church, and to the North Dumfries community. And I just want to take a moment to recognize that publicly.
Appreciate you doing that, Rob. Thanks very much for the call.
Yeah. Safe travels, Mike.
Thanks,
Bye.
Rob. Bye-bye. There you go. Right back to what Dallas said. We are going to be local first. And that Benninger name, and especially Ben, with all his contributions to North Dumfries, certainly worth noting. Glad we could do that as we wind things down for another day, another week here on the program. I'm going to come back Monday morning at 9, and I hope you will too, and we'll just engage in some more conversation then. In between that, how about a Kitchener Rangers game Sunday afternoon in Guelph, and a Kitchener Rangers game tonight at the Memorial Auditorium? If you can't make it there, Josh Piercy and I have you covered right here on your home of Kitchener Rangers hockey. Our Harris Law pregame show will begin at 6:30. All of the action between the Rangers and the Petes, and then Josh and I stay around late for Rangers Talk to take your calls on the post-game show. So I look forward to talking to you then. My name is Mike Farwell. You are a force for good. Bye for now.